From pretty much the present, this is your host, Adam Graham, bringing you a week of old-time radio detective podcasts from 2012. Because these podcasts are many years old, any offers or information included in the podcast may not be valid unless they're currently reflected on our Great Detectives of Old Time Radio website at greatdetectives.net. Here now is a week of old-time radio detective podcast.
Welcome to the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio from Boise, Idaho. This is your host, Adam Graham. If you have a comment, email it to me, box13 at greatdetectives.net. Give me a call, 208-991-4783, and become one of our friends on Facebook, facebook.com/radio detectives. Well, today's episode is brought to you by the support of our listeners. Thank you so much for all your financial support. Today's episode of Barrie Craig, and we are resuming the series. It's worth noting the final end indicated this was the last episode, though they hope to be able to bring it to people again. And most times when that's said, it still doesn't end up coming back. Well, in the case of Barrie Craig, that was definitely an exception. The series returned only a month later in October of 1954. Most of the episodes were about 25 minutes, and this was to make it possible to be able to play the news. A lot of the recordings from this version are somewhat edited, and that's the case with today's. We're missing the end credits. It was kind of snipped. Not our doing. There were 5 episodes missed. This is the 6th episode of the new, shorter format series. This one is called Lifeline.
Barrie Craig speaking. Some cases don't show at all in your monthly cash receipts. Your only compensation is the warm feeling you get deep inside. A case that would be, say, in the public good and welfare. The first nudge it gave me was in Dolan's coffee pot. I was having a steak burger, free on Dolan. Dolan was paying off a World Series bet. His team had lost. The nudge came from a girl, 20 maybe, give or take a year, in a cloth coat with a babushka around her head. A scared look to her, like she just dried her tears.
Mr. Craig, if you'll excuse me.
Oh, I do. Be my guest.
No, thanks.
Oh, the food's good here. Sanitary kitchen.
Well, it's awfully nice of you, but
Coffee, then. Hey, Dolan. One Java, piping hot. Now, no need looking so scared, miss. People come up to me all the time.
Then it's not unusual for me to...
Oh, not one bit. The day my private life gets too private, friend, make room on that breadline.
My name is Norma, Mr. Craig.
Well, stretch it.
Norma Barron.
Your own crisis or a borrowed one?
I'm here on behalf of my boyfriend, Chris Jakowski.
Here with his consent and blessing?
No. Oh, he'd be furious if he...
Enough said. Hand me a napkin.
Napkin?
For my steak burger. I'll wrap it up and finish it under the stars. My guess is that you'd feel freer without so many ears around.
Well, it is awfully crowded here. Everybody's staring at me.
The stars looked down and the sounds of the river made like tubas in the Philharmonic Orchestra. Norma got around to the point of her mission.
Chris is wild, deliberately bent on destroying himself.
Oh, familiar record. Youth carrying a chip. The country doesn't know it, but we've got an undeclared civil war on our hands.
An undeclared civil war?
Youth against the grown-ups. Total war and no weapons barred. Read the daily papers.
It is horrible.
We don't come to some solution about it, we'll slip back into the dark ages. But, get on with Chris.
Oh, he's carrying a gun. He doesn't know I know. That's why I came to you.
Why not the regular police?
Oh, I didn't dare. Gee, I don't want Chris in trouble. I wanted him understood and helped.
How close are you to Chris?
We've been going together since school. I've never known any other boy.
Girls will sure pick them.
Well, deep down, Chris is good and gentle and decent.
So, okay. Who might argue with love? So what sours Chris?
I'm not too sure. Personality problems, I think. The hard time he's been having, his lack of direction.
That about covers what ails the world. Does Chris work?
He keeps losing jobs.
Oh? Tell me about his associations.
They aren't good. Chris goes where he's accepted. He doesn't discriminate.
What's got him feeling so low down and rejected? Besides his hard luck with jobs.
Well, he's always felt second rate. His boyhood was a mess.
Parents?
An aunt and uncle.
Not always a satisfactory substitute. Okay, I'll look Chris up. See what's got the boy toting a gun. Tchaikovsky, only he didn't know it at the time. I wanted to tail him for a while on the QT, see what pattern of movement was typical to him. Average looking, except for his clothes. The clothes were stylish, a fancy Dan cut to them. His movements for a while were very typical of the young tough, lounging in front of a barber shop, then across the street to lounge some more in front of the Apollo Billiard Academy. A little chit-chat with a few young fellows trying to look hard. And then with the 10 p.m. chimes, Chris took himself a walk, with me not far behind him. A short walk it turned out to be, to a movie house, the Odeon. A double feature playing Death in Spades and Girl of the Manitoba Trail. I was right in line with him, buying an admission ticket. The guy buys into a movie house, he generally finds a seat and settles down for a 3-hour snooze. Not Chris Tchaikovsky. He no sooner got in, he was leaving by the balcony fire exit. Follow a guy down an iron staircase, you can't always be the quiet man who isn't there. The staircase underfoot sets up a whine, loud enough for Chris to hear. I saw him waiting for me in the alley, looking very suspicious and hostile.
Hold on a minute there, mister.
Holding on. Yes?
2 of us on that staircase. How come?
The picture was from hunger. Like you, I decided to leave.
Why the fire exit?
Oh, the fastest out. No pushing past people in the lobby. I got my cue from you, Sonny. So what's bothering you?
I don't like strangers behind me.
Nice persecution complex?
No?
Nothing. Fancy talk. All right for me to keep going?
Yeah, I guess. All right, sure. Yeah, you read about muggers all the time, mister.
Sure. Always suspect a guy creeping behind you. That way you grow up to be a grandfather someday.
So scram already. Let's don't make it a coffee clutch.
Sure, let's don't. But before I bow out, I've got something for your nervous system.
Oh, my nervous system? Now what?
A jolt. A real one this time.
Hey, you got a run on me.
Haven't I, though?
You ain't gonna make out. All I got is $1 and a pack of smokes.
And a gun?
Come again?
I said you've got a gun.
Oh, now what makes you think that?
My X-ray vision. Keep your buck and cigarettes. Just pass up the hardware. Let's have it.
Sure. You know something?
What?
You know, stick up, you're a cop.
Know something?
What?
You're so right. I know an empty warehouse a few blocks south. Let's go to it, huh?
What for?
Privacy. There's a loading platform we can squat on. Have a nice, long talk.
Nice, long talk. Hey, what's with...
Perambulate, Sonny, or I'll get you there the hard way. The only company we had around the warehouse loading platform was a family of cats. I pulled out all the stops in talking to Chris Tchaikovsky. You were in and out of the Odeon Theater to establish a time alibi covering 3 hours in case of a pinch.
You're crazy.
You made sure the cashier and the ticket taker saw you. You went out of your way to greet both of them.
They both know me since I was a kid. Maisie and Sam Guinness. How long don't I know them?
Some cop asked you about where you were tonight. You show them the ticket stub.
Yeah. Then they asked me about the pitches, wise guy. I can't answer that. You saw me leave right away.
You saw the movies last night. You got in somehow without being noticed by the cashier or the ticket taker. Either that or somebody briefed you on the pictures. You know them by heart.
Go on. Make a federal case out of nothing.
Packing a gun isn't nothing, Sonny. There's a law against it.
I found the gun over on a lot in the weeds.
Even at that, granting the lie, the law is still against it.
I didn't know how to dump it.
There's the police station house.
For the cops to push me around? Oh, wouldn't I be nuts?
There's a sewer on every block.
The sewer, yeah. Yeah, I should have thrown it down the sewer.
You should have. Only thing, you had a robbery all set up. And the gun figured in it.
Say what you like. Go ahead. You got nothing on me.
The gun?
Okay, the gun. So pull me in.
You could come clean with me.
You could take a...
Wash your tongue. So you're sticking to the cartoon, huh? Tough Chris Tchaikovsky.
Don't you go making fun of me.
Like others have, huh?
What do you mean by that?
The laughs at your expense. The laughs that soured you on people in society. And even on yourself.
Ain't nobody been laughing at me.
I know. Not lately. Not since you've become a sinister figure.
You're crazy.
And you're as self-conscious and unsure as anybody I've ever met.
Now, why do you say that?
I'm looking squarely at you.
Oh. You're another one like that.
That disfigurement in your face, your right cheek, how did it happen?
Fire. I was a kid. We lived 5 flights up over on Leonard Street. I got burned bad.
One profile, you're fine. A handsome gent. But on the other side, you're a scarecrow.
Mr. Gun or no gun, I'll break your head up.
Sorry. I just wanted to see how deeply you felt about your looks.
I don't think about it until a wise guy reminds me.
But you do think about it, Chris. It's on your mind and in your eyes and heavy on your soul. It's got you toting a gun and planning robberies. I'll ask you again. Come clean.
Come clean about what?
The robbery scheduled for tonight. Where? Who? And the fellas in it with you. Their names.
I got nothing to tell you, nothing.
The code, huh? The pony code of honor. Don't squeal. Don't even let out a peep in the electric chair. Where do you live?
That's for you to find out.
I don't think I'll try. Good night.
Good night? You letting me go?
For now.
Oh. You're gonna keep hounding me.
Yeah. From here in, I'm the angel over your shoulder. You'll never walk alone.
You think. I'll get even with you. You watch. You don't need no good coffee. You just watch.
I didn't bother answering that. I let the family of cats do it for me. In the morning, I had eggs and coffee. Still free on Dolan. Meals for a month on the house. That had been my winning World Series bet with Dolan. The morning papers told me what Chris Tchaikovsky wouldn't talk about the night before. Masked gunmen shoot hotel cashier and holdup. Escape with $6,000 in cash. The Eberly Hotel, 9 blocks from the warehouse where I'd sat out the evening with Chris Tchaikovsky. 9 blocks. A 10-minute stroll for Chris from the alleyway of the Odeon Theater. I'd sure gummed up his plan. Not being able to find Chris Tchaikovsky, I found his girl Norma Barron instead. She was busy at work in a glove factory. A piece worker. Norma ran up the side seams on the machine. So fast, I could swear the lady had 8 hands.
I can't talk to you now.
It's important.
Please, Mr. Minton, he's the foreman. He's got a production schedule. He's a fanatic.
Lincoln freed the slaves. Craig can do no less.
Jokes aside, I'll be laid off. Please, you'll only free me to be unemployed.
When's lunch hour?
12 o'clock. I got a box lunch here.
Well, quit now. I'll get you another job.
What at?
I can't keep yelling over your sewing machines.
What at?
Now, let me see. Yeah, receptionist. At my dentist, Doc Friedman. 40 per and all the National Geographics you can read from 10 to 5.
See, I've been dying to get paid for doing nothing.
So?
Has he already got a receptionist?
Yeah. But Hannah's getting married over the weekend. Fell in love at a roller skating rink. Well, you quit now?
Do I? Oh, just give me 2 minutes.
For what?
A choice word I've been saving up for the foreman, Mr. Minton. Have I been dreaming of this day?
Norma was just too nice a girl to be making 2 hands do the work of 8. I asked her help in finding Chris.
I'm afraid Chris has gone away.
Why do you think that?
His room, he wasn't in it this morning.
His room?
Furnished room at Mrs. Bester's. I ring Chris's bell mornings and we eat breakfast together, and then he walks me to work.
Did you go up to his room?
Yeah,
It?
it looked like Chris had vacated it. His personal stuff wasn't around.
No note for you?
Note?
Of explanation?
Oh, no. No note.
Your nose just lit up.
My nose just...
It always does when a nice girl stoops to falsehood. Now, let me have the note.
I was always a poor liar. Here.
Norma, going out of town for a while. Maloney's, first chance I get. Chris. What does Maloney's first chance I get mean in lover's code?
Where Chris will telephone me. Maloney runs the barber shop. Hey, what trouble is Chris in?
I'm not sure. The morning papers, however, are full of a hotel shooting and stick-up.
Chris?
No. So happens I'm his alibi for last night, thanks to you.
Thanks to me?
If you hadn't sent me after him, it's my notion Chris would have been one of the masked gunmen last night.
Oh, I'm so relieved.
Now, don't be too relieved. He's on the lam, voluntarily or by force.
Force?
Chris didn't show up with his gun last night. His friends want to know why not. They had a job blueprinted with Chris fully informed. That makes Chris a possessor of dangerous knowledge. Yeah, Chris might have lammed voluntarily or by persuasion.
You said before a hold-up and a shooting. A shooting?
The night cashier in the Hotel Everly.
Oh.
He's got a bullet in him, pierced the lung. First surgery was successful, but a second might not be.
It could be murder.
If the cashier dies, a man of 65, Norma, shock alone can kill him.
Oh, what a lucky thing that Chris was...
Pause in your prayers and write out a list of Chris's so-called friends, huh? All of them you know. Play good angel and Dutch uncle to a problem, kid. The whole world doesn't take kindly to it. Sometimes there's a sharp protest from persons known and unknown. In this case, persons unknown. Some belligerent shooting up street lamps. Correction, shooting up confidential investigators. This shot practically singed my whiskers. I made the safety of a shoe shine parlor. I needed a shoe shine even less than I needed a hair save. In the shoe shine parlor, the guy shining my shoes kept laughing to himself. Squat little guy with a nose built from ear to ear. The name on his glass window read V. Santo. Why not share the joke, cousin? You laughing at me or at the world?
Hey, let's have the other shoe.
Just where would you prefer it?
Oh, tough, huh?
Just a little sensitive right now, laughing boy.
I'm laughing about what went on.
Went on where?
The street out there. You not knowing where all the shots were coming from.
Oh, but you knew, huh?
Yeah, I knew. Now I'm going to let you hear what's been breaking me up like this. The joke you asked about?
So tell me.
It so happens I know where your next shot's coming from.
You do?
Yeah. See?
My, it's small.
The size of my hand.
Don't tell me the gun's been in your palm all the time you've been flipping the shine ray.
It has. Look, I'll show you how the tricks work. See, I'm shining them up. All the time I got the gun palmed.
Well, what do you know?
Cute, huh?
Very. Well, I ran right into the spider's web.
Right straight in.
Don't suppose we'll get to the other shoe now.
Nah, I'm off that.
Don't suppose you want payment for half a job.
It's on the house.
Thanks. Well?
Well, what?
What now?
You come down off that chair.
Yeah. Off the chair. First things first. Sure. Okay. Coming down to your left. Ow! You dropped something, cousin.
Oh, my hand.
Hey, very foolish reaching to get your gun. I said very foolish. I only fire one warning shot. That's all that's required of any cop. You're not too bright, cousin. Ordering me down off a high perch, you should have backed out of range of my feet.
Oh, my thumb's busted.
Nothing fatal.
I busted thumb. How do I make a living?
Which raises the question, just how do you make a living? I'll answer that for you. You do odd jobs for Maloney to bother.
Maloney the Bob? Who's he?
I like my guess. From that surprised look on your face, I like my guess very much.
Mess with Maloney, you're a dope.
Maloney's the dope. A rifle isn't standard tonsorial equipment for a half-inch. Park your shine right, Junior, and grab your hat.
You locking me up?
I'm turning you over to a chap named Trav Rogers, Lieutenant Trav Rogers. He's locking you up.
What charge?
Concealed weapons for a starter. Let's go.
Hey, that's the yard out there.
I know. The temperature in the street's too sizzling for comfort. What with Maloney doing his barbering with a rifle, we'll catch ourselves a nice breeze, going out the yard and over a few fences. Lead us in our journey, Santo. Neighborhood hoods organized into a stick-up gang, like a respectable cover. To be able to point to, quote, legitimate gainful employment, unquote, when the heat is on. I let Maloney the barber trim my hair.
There you are, friend. All cut.
Hold the mirror to the back of my head, huh?
Yeah, sure. Nice, huh?
The line zigs up and zags down.
Style to it. I always give style.
And the sideburns, cockeyed. One's over my ear and one's under.
You got a lot of complaints.
My head of hair.
Next time, take it someplace else, huh?
What barber college did you study in, chum?
That's my business.
Bet I can guess. Sing Sing.
I take so much needling and then...
I beg your pardon.
What did you do that for?
Oh, it's an accident. I was getting off the chair. I didn't see your big fat stomach in the way.
I gotta sit. You knocked the wind out of me.
Yeah, let me help you sit. Maloney.
Yeah?
You conscious?
What's got into you?
You're a lousy barber. As a matter of fact, I don't even think you are a barber.
You're crazy. Just asked around the neighborhood.
You're a barber like Santo down the street is a shine boy.
Santo?
Santo. The last I saw him, he was being fingerprinted. On your feet. I've already asked around the neighborhood, Maloney. Heard all I need to know about you.
Bull. Nobody in the neighborhood even said hello to you.
No, huh? Because you've got them intimidated, huh? Anybody talks to a cop, the next fellow they talk to is the undertaker.
I'm sure listening to a lot of words.
Indulge me. Stick-ups this end of town originate here in your barber shop. Like the one last night in the Everly Hotel. Like 20 others that have gone unsolved the last 2 months. Young men in here get a lousy haircut and a big education in crime.
Words.
Words to dress up an indictment. I've got a list of names with me. Skinny Morrow, Buck Edwards, Pinky Dodge, Dutch O'Melveny, Red North.
You've been copying names out of a telephone book.
Names of young fellas ruined by Maloney. Gun toters and stick-up artists. Ask me where the fellas I read off are right now.
You're talking.
Being rounded up by the police. What are the odds that one of them spills the Maloney story?
I want to call my lawyer.
Soon as the show is over.
Show? For what show?
A squad of cops on their way here. The store, back room, and basement. They're going to take it apart. I'll lay odds on what they'll find.
Rats and roaches.
And cameras, radios, rings, watches, etc. Maybe even a big piece of that $6,000 taken at the Everly Hotel last night. Settle down with the comics, Maloney. We've got 10 minutes to kill. I bagged a lot of wild game. I had the standing room only sign out at the local clink. But I still had the problem of Chris Chikowski on my hands. I thought that one over, and then I took my thoughts to a fellow uptown. A fellow with an odd name who wore a short white coat with the pomp of a Maharaja in his ceremonial robe. His name, Igor von Strater. Dr. Igor von Strater. I had Norma Barron along with me to solemnify the occasion.
I'll be pleased to do what you ask, Mr. Craig.
Great. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Medicine has a soul, too, Mr. Craig. Like your profession.
Then the sum we agreed on. Here, $300. You'll find it all there.
But I will be pleased to accept nothing.
A $2,000 job for a measly 3 C's is charity enough. You have got an overhead.
When will you send the young man to me?
Tomorrow or the next day. I've got to work over him before you can. Let's go, Norma. Norma could no longer contain herself.
A plastic surgeon.
Best man in New York. You heard his usual fee.
Yeah, $2,000.
The only permanent cure I know for your guy. Fix that cheek of his and you fix his morals. His inferiority feelings began when the fire mutilated his face.
Yeah. In my heart, I've always known that about Chris, but...
But?
Well, gee, $300 of your own money, it's not fair to you.
It's not my own money. It's Maloney, the barber's contribution.
Maloney? I don't know.
I scooped up the contents of his cash register before the police raid began. I found $298 net. I added $2 of my own. Maloney's dough, so what? For the fellows he's ruined, I say let Maloney's money do one fellow some good. Call it poetic justice.
Oh, gee. I don't know what to say.
Say this. When Chris Tchaikovsky finally rings you on that telephone. Come home, Chris. Come back to the old block. Use every feminine persuasion you know.
You make it sound extra important.
It sure is. I'm putting on a show for Chris, sister. A show with fireworks he'll never forget. He's got to do some suffering before the magic rainbow appears. For the good of his immortal soul. When I'm done with Chris, he'll be very happy to live. Happily ever after. The phone call to Norma came through, and soon enough. I watched Chris Tchaikovsky take a quiet evening stroll down the old block on his way to meet Norma. I let him cross from Santos' Shine Parlor to Maloney's barber shop before I opened fire. When he fell face down in the gutter, I gave him a couple of extra shots. I watched him roll over, face upward to the sky, then go rigid as the angel of death tapped him on the brow. A hysteria reaction. All pure shock. Chris's death was grossly exaggerated. After all, how could he be dead when I'd been using blank bullets? Soon, I listened to Chris Tchaikovsky talk to himself.
Miracle I wasn't killed. Maloney had a rig for me to be killed. Miracle, the bullets passed all around me.
Still feel you owe loyalty to rats?
I learned my lesson. I learned it.
Ready to get it all off your chest now?
Yeah, sure. Anything I know to tell.
You'll feel better for it. The underworld code is for suckers, son. The rat you're protecting is generally aiming a knife at your back.
Yeah, a gun, you mean? Yeah, I know that now. And how I know that.
While Chris Tchaikovsky was getting it all down on police record, I had a few private words with Norma.
You faked the attempt on Chris's life.
Yes. Show a man the face of death and he develops a love of life. The good, clean life. Sorry the shock therapy had to be so, well, melodramatic.
Oh, I fainted dead away when I heard the shots.
When Chris gets through with his statement, ride him uptown to Dr. Van Strater for that operation.
Yes, I will. At once.
And, Norma.
Yes, Mr. Craig?
My trick with Chris. Is it, our secret?
Oh, yes, Mr. Craig. I promise you it will always be our secret. And thanks. Thanks so much for everything.
Welcome back. Well, this was a different episode of Barrie Craig. And it may have been a little overdone in some ways, but it does address what was a big issue at the time, which is concern about delinquency among young people and particularly juveniles. Though in this case, it appears that this guy was not a minor at this point, and this idea of trying to get young people to stay out of organized crime. This was a lot of Hollywood focused on this. There was an episode of Suspense dealing with similar issues. So this is one of those more serious social commentary episodes, and still it worked for the most part. There was just a couple parts I was like, I don't know if that's quite realistic, but okay. All right, well, now we turn to listener comments and feedback, and appreciate all the comments that you send in. SD Ranger comments on our Box 13 feed, a well-done show starring Alan Ladd. Great acting plots and premise. I loved every episode and wish they'd made more. I'm definitely there with you on that. Tommy comments over on Facebook, it's simply amazing that these shows were able to accomplish in a one-room studio. From the sound effects to the atmosphere they created to the voice inflections. Really remarkable. Would you happen to know the very first detective show ever recorded? Thanks so much. But from St. Louis, Missouri, this is Tommy signing off. Well, thanks so much, Tommy. I appreciate that. Answer to the question, as far as I know, the first detective show recorded is, and probably not too surprising, was Sherlock Holmes. 1930, that was the first time that the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes began to be out there, and it continued on the radio, with a few years break here and there for the better part of 20 years. And then after that, you'd had Charlie Chan and Mr. Keen, Tracer of Lost Persons, become very popular on the airwaves. Thanks so much for the great question, and that will do it for today. We will be back tomorrow with an episode of Poirot, and then join us next Monday for Barrie Craig, Confidential Investigator. Well, we're going to get into today's episode of Poirot. This is brought to you by the financial support of our listeners. Thank you so much for all of your support. And before we do get into today's episode, I do have a programming note. We have actually only 3 more episodes of Poirot after this week's episode. So this week and then 3 more. And we were scheduled to play right after that, get into Pete Kelly's Blues. However, we're going to move Pete Kelly's Blues back 2 weeks. The reason for this is the recent passing of Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace was best known for his work on 60 Minutes. However, he was also a very, very active person on radio. There are quite a few recordings out there with Mr. Wallace doing some announcing, with him recording some commercial breaks. However, it's lesser known that he actually went into drama. And there was a detective series that was considered by NBC with Mike Wallace starred as the lead. Then he was going by his given name, Myron Wallace. So with your indulgence, when we finish up Poirot, we will do 2 weeks of Crime on the Waterfront and share this series with you. And it's been very rarely heard. It did not actually get picked up as far as I can find out. So this, I think, will be a treat. So be looking for that coming up in 4 weeks. All right, well, now it's time for today's episode. This one is called The Adventure of the Money Mad Ghouls.
Time and the little grey cells. These will always catch the criminal.
Hercule Poirot, Detective Extraordinary. From the thrill-packed pages of Agatha Christie's unforgettable stories of corpses, clues, and crimes, Mutual now brings you, complete with bowler hat and magnificent mustache, your favorite detective, Hercule Poirot. Starring Harold Huber in The Adventure of the Money Mad Ghouls.
Good morning, Inspector Stevens. It is just 8:30. Do not tell me you have become a victim of the insomnia.
I'm not in the mood for kidding, Poirot. I've been up all night, but not with insomnia. I've just come from the Pleasant Valley Cemetery.
In that case, permit me to say that you are a singularly healthy-looking ghost.
It may be funny to you, but I frankly admit that I'm worried. There have been 6 grave robberies at Pleasant Valley in the last 2 months.
Then, Monsieur Stevens, I advise you to look for a tall, red-headed man who walks with a limp, is left-handed, and wears glasses.
Poirot, you're amazing. How do you know?
Mon ami, your faith in me is touching. You enter my apartment and tell me that some graves have been robbed, and honestly believe that I know the criminal's identity. I assure you I am as much in the dark as you. Until, that is, you provide me with more information.
Oh. Well, here are the facts as I have them. The robbery started about 2 months ago with the opening of the grave of Robert Alden. This was followed a few days later by the grave robbery of James Bennett. In the next 6 weeks, the graves of Richard Colt, Alan Devers, Victor Edwards, and Michael Fallon were opened and desecrated.
Pardon. Exactly what did these ghouls take from the grave?
Everything.
A little moment, Stephen. You are trying to tell me that these ghouls took with them the caskets and the bodies?
That's just what they did. Took everything, and it beats me what in the devil...
Do not fly out of the handle, monsieur. Tell me, were these old graves which were violated?
Funny you should ask me that. All of them were the graves of people who died recently.
And that gives one two things. Eh, my friend? And now you will please get for me the names and the locations of the graves of people who have died recently whose last names start with a G.
With a G? What are you driving at?
Will you repeat for me the last names of the former occupants of the graves that have already been robbed?
Oh, Alden, Bennett, Colt, Devers, Edwards, Fallon.
Stevens. A, B, C, D, E, F. That is curious, n'est-ce pas? Strange enough so that you and I shall watch at the graves of the lately departed whose last names begin with a G.
I'm beginning to feel more like a grave watcher than a police officer, Poirot.
Do not fear, mon brave. No one would ever suspect you of being anything but a police officer.
What?
A flash the light on the tombstone, please. We must make certain this is the grave we seek.
All right. There we are. Yeah, this is it all right. Herman Gilbert died May 16th, 1945.
Bon, let us conceal ourselves behind this hedge and wait. I think Monsieur Gilbert will have visitors.
I don't know what makes you so sure. There were 4 other people whose last names started with G.
Oui, mon ami, but this is the most recent.
You know, Poirot, I hate to admit this, but I'm mighty glad you're here with me. I don't like cemeteries. They're too gloomy and damp to suit me.
Stephen, hush!
Huh? You were right, Poirot. Someone coming.
Yes, and with the proper tools for their grisly work.
Hey! Somebody's here! Stephen! Hey! Stop! Come back! Stop or I'll fire!
Now, Poirot, if you won't tell me what your angle on this case is, at least you might tell me where you're going.
Mon ami, if you promise not to sneeze, I will tell you.
You can't blame me for sneezing. I couldn't help it.
It is not the sneeze that annoys me. It is the effect it had upon the case. Now these robbers are warned that we are on the scent. They will be more cautious.
Well, where are we going?
We are here, at the place Robert Alden lived, the first person whose grave was opened. Is it not significant to you also, Stevens, that there have been no graves of women disturbed?
That's so. I never thought of that.
You did not. I was so sure you had.
Well, what is it? Speak up. Don't keep me standing here in the draught.
Pardon, monsieur. But did a Robert Alden live here?
Robert Alden? Yes, he certainly did, but you can't see him. He's dead.
That we already know, monsieur. We would like some information.
Why? What are you bothering about Robert Alden for?
This is Inspector Stevens of the New York Police, and we wish some information.
Robert Alden was a fine man, as fine a man as ever lived. He used to try to cheat me at checkers once in a while, but I was too smart for him.
Were you related?
No, but he was my best friend and lived with me in this house for over 20 years.
Then perhaps we could see his wife.
That's a good one. Robert never married at all. He was a bachelor until the day he died.
I see. Were you at the funeral, monsieur?
Of course I was. Don't you think I have any decent feelings? I even remember the date. It was June 13th.
Yeah?
June 13th, 1920.
I'm all in, Poirot. And I don't understand this. Alden's been dead for 25 years. Nobody ever heard of Devers, Edwards, and Fallon. I can't make any sense out of this.
Patience, mon ami. We do know that there was a Richard Colt and that he has a widow.
Yeah, Yeah?
Here's the house now. I beg of you to allow me to ask the questions, eh? The poor lady will doubtless be upset by her recent bereavement.
Okay, Poirot, I'll let you handle everything. Yeah, she seems upset, all right.
Madame Colt?
Well, yes, I'm Mrs. Colt. What is it you wish?
Are you Madame Richard Colt?
Oh, I suppose it's my husband you want to see. I'll call him. Dick? Oh, Dick, darling.
What the devil? Am I crazy or...
Yes, madame. We should very much like to see your husband.
Coming, Lydia. Well, darling, what's this all about? Who are these people, friends of yours?
I'd like to know what this is all about, all right.
Please, mon cher Stevens. Monsieur, I am Hercule Poirot, and this is Inspector Stevens of the police. He is disturbed because he finds you a singularly healthy ghost.
Ghost? I don't know what you're talking about.
You have had no other husbands, madame?
What are you saying? If this is some kind of game, I don't like it.
Be quiet, Dick. There's evidently been some mistake. No, Mr. Poirot, Dick is my only husband.
Well, he ought to be dead.
I'll punch you right on the nose.
Gently. And now, Madame Colt, if you would be so good as to close the door, we will attempt to perceive the reason behind your husband's so sudden return to life.
Now, let's get to the bottom of this.
That is exactly what we wish. You, Monsieur Colt, are supposed to have died on the 3rd of August of this year.
I never felt better in my life.
Who on earth could have played such a horrible joke on us?
Madame, I assure you, this is no joke.
But there must be other Richard Colts in New York. Are you sure you have the right one?
Yeah, we got the right Richard Colt. The manager of Pleasant Valley Cemetery gave us your address. I think you two better come along with me.
That will not be necessary, mon ami. We have a more logical task to perform. We go to call on the manager of the Pleasant Valley Cemetery.
Inspector Stevens. Have you made an arrest as yet?
No, I'm sorry to say we haven't.
This is dreadful. Simply dreadful. I don't know what the world's coming to, and even a cemetery is no longer a peaceful place.
Yeah, I know how you feel, Mr. Kenton. Oh, this is Hercule Poirot, Mr. Kenton, the manager here.
Well, Inspector, you are making progress after all, if you've obtained the assistance of the famous Mr. Poirot.
Thank you, Monsieur Kenton. And now, as one man of intelligence to another, perhaps you would like to answer a few questions for me.
Certainly. What is it you'd like to know?
What is the procedure for the interment of a body in this cemetery? By that I mean, do you personally see the bodies when they arrive here for burial?
No, Mr. Poirot. That is hardly necessary. All that is required is the issuance of a death certificate.
Then you did not actually yourself see the body of Monsieur Richard Colt?
Why, no. I should have thought it most unusual if I had. The undertaker simply gives me the necessary papers, and I make out the assignment of the grave.
And the name of the undertaker, if you please?
Well, let me see. I'm sure I have it here in the files. Yes, it's Love. Kermit J. Love.
And the address?
6611 Ithaca Street.
And now, if you would be so kind, could I perhaps have the names of the undertakers for the other 5 bodies disturbed by the Ghouls?
Well, that will be difficult. But perhaps I can mail that information to you tomorrow.
I regret to disturb you, but I should like it now.
Very well. Here's a strange coincidence.
What's that?
If I may be permitted to guess, monsieur, it is that Monsieur Kermit J. Love is also the undertaker for the others.
Yes, that is correct, Mr. Poirot.
And now, Stevens, we go to walk into the parlor of Monsieur Love. One could be at peace in so gentle an atmosphere, mon ami. Did you not hear those beautiful chimes? That is enough pushing on the bell, Stevens. Someone is coming to the door.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Won't you come in?
Thank you, Monsieur Love. Come, Stevens.
May I offer my profound sympathy for your great loss. You may rest assured that Kermit J. Love will do all in his power to assist you in this moment of need.
We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Of course. We handle all the necessary details.
You've got the wrong idea. We want to...
I understand. Perhaps you would like your little friend here to speak for you.
That is an excellent idea, Monsieur Love. Wait outside for me, Stevens. I will take care of all details.
Oh, well, all right, but I don't see why I think...
Your friend is quite upset. Was it his wife?
No, he is not married.
I see. Then his mother, perhaps. Or some other close member of the family.
No. It is not that at all, monsieur.
But I don't quite understand.
Then perhaps this will assist you. Were you not the undertaker for Alden, Bennett, Coates, Devil, Edwards, and Fallon?
I'm afraid that is a rather unethical question.
Unethical question? Oh, now it is I who do not understand, monsieur.
Sir, you certainly don't understand. I take my profession seriously. If I may say so, I am doctor, lawyer, and minister to the dead. It is I who escort them into the next world, so to speak.
And I also, monsieur, take my profession seriously.
Which is of no interest to me. You are exceedingly rude and inquisitive. I will not have the secrets of the dead laid bare. They must rest. Rest in peace.
But that is just what they have not been allowed to do, monsieur.
That is regrettable, but I don't see how it concerns me.
This is a most magnificent establishment you have here.
Thank you. Good day.
Tell me, what are those cabinets in the wall?
Don't touch them. They are resting places for those awaiting burial.
And they are occupied now?
Most certainly.
Ah? I see the cards say that two of them are occupied by Monsieur P. Fox and Monsieur S. Martin.
I don't like your attitude. As I told you before, it's rude and unethical.
Rude? To inquire about your business with Messieurs Alden, Bennett, Coates, Devils, and Fallon? I am interested in whether you were the undertaker for those gentlemen, Monsieur Love.
You came in here with your friend and led me to believe you were seeking my professional services.
One moment, monsieur. I'm afraid you leaped too quickly to that conclusion. My friend and I said nothing.
I am not permitted to release the information you've asked for.
Well, perhaps you will be good enough to oblige me when you learn the identity of my friend who waits outside.
If you will excuse me, I have some duties to perform.
He is Inspector Stevens of the New York Police. I can ask him to make this request for me.
Oh, the police? Well, that's an entirely different matter. Yes, I was the undertaker for the late gentleman you mentioned.
And you saw the bodies?
Naturally.
You are quite certain of this, monsieur?
Kermit J. Love Incorporated is a reputable firm. We have been in business for the last 27 years. If I tell you I saw the bodies, there are no further questions necessary. Now, is there anything else you'd like to know?
No, monsieur, that will be all for the moment.
Well, Poirot, looks like this time I was right. Kenton has no business down in this part of town.
Patience, mon ami. We have not yet seen what Monsieur Kenton does here.
We've seen enough for me. He ducked out of his house, and ever since we've been following him, he's been acting suspicious. Besides, there's nothing down here except factories and warehouses, and they're closed at night.
We will see. Aha, monsieur. It appears you may be right. Do you notice that car just turning the corner?
Hearst! Poirot, I believe we got him. Kenton's in on this.
Gently. Let us stand in this doorway and observe what is going on, eh?
Hey, they're going to break into that cold storage plant. Come on, Poirot. Throw up your hands. Get Kenton, Poirot. He just turned the corner. Come back. Stop. Halt. God darn it. Poirot, where are you?
Coming, my friend. Coming with Monsieur Kenton.
At least we got somebody. All right, Kenton, speak up. We know everything.
Speak for yourself, monsieur. There are still a few things that puzzle me.
It's as plain as pike staff. Come along, Kenton.
Take your hands off of me. I warn you, Inspector, I'll sue you for false arrest. What's the meaning of always shouting and shooting?
Monsieur Kenton, perhaps you will be kind enough to explain what you were doing in this neighborhood at this time of night?
Certainly. I was going to get some pipe tobacco.
If you can't think of a better one than that, Kenton, come along.
Let us permit Monsieur Kenton to finish.
You'd better. You'll be making a bad mistake. Just so happens that I smoke a special kind of tobacco, mixed for me by a friend of mine.
His name?
His name happens to be Rosemary Leeds. She's a very charming girl engaged to my son. She's a chemist. She happens to have her office down here, and once in a while she mixes a particularly mild mixture for me, and I come down, pick it up, and take her home.
Well, that's a good one, all right. I suppose you didn't see that hearse.
I didn't see anything, but I heard a lot. Then Mr. Poirot asked me to come with him.
Poirot, I've got this all figured now. Somehow they're taking the bodies out of the cemetery to the cold storage plant and leaving them there.
What for, mon brave?
Well, I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out.
Do that, mon cher Stevens, and while you risk pneumonia, I will check upon Monsieur Kenton. Come, monsieur, we will see whether this Mademoiselle Leeds is waiting for you with your tobacco. Hello, hello?
Poirot, take some advice. Lay off that investigation.
Pardon. Are you referring to the case of the counterfeit dentist?
You know darn well what I'm talking about. If you don't stop investigating those empty graves, you'll find yourself filling one of them.
I think not, monsieur.
What makes you so sure?
But it is obvious. You have not yet come to the letter P.
Wise guy.
Good day, Stephen.
What's good about it? We're not getting anywhere at all. I still don't trust that Kenton. I know his alibi stood up, but that dame's engaged to his son. Maybe they're all in it together. Well, have you got anything new?
I have just been informed that we have made considerable headway.
Yeah? Who told you?
I do not know.
Well, that's fine. We're making headway, but you don't know how.
I do know how. It is that I do not know who. I have just received a telephone threat against the life of Hercule Poirot.
All right, but I don't see how that helps. You get those all the time.
Observe, mon ami. Only one of 4 people could have inspired that telephone call. Either Monsieur or Madame Colt, Monsieur Kenton, the manager of Pleasant Valley Cemetery, or Monsieur Kermit J. Love, this so sympathetic undertaker.
Well, yeah, I suppose you're right.
But of course.
What are you doing?
Calling Monsieur Kenton.
Pleasant Valley Cemetery.
Monsieur Kenton, this is Hercule Poirot. Tell me, if you please, have you any funerals scheduled from the establishment of Kermit J. Love for today?
Why, yes, I have 3.
And their last names?
Wing, Levitt, and Harkness.
Ah, indeed. And what time is the Harkness funeral?
Well, that's strange. Kermit Love just phoned me about moving the time up to 10 o'clock this morning.
1,000 thanks, Monsieur Kenton. Quickly, Stevens, a police car and an escort. We must be at Pleasant Valley Cemetery in 15 minutes.
What for?
To attend a funeral.
We're almost there, Poirot. There's the entrance.
Mr. Poirot, what's wrong? What happened?
Quickly, the Harkness grave. Where is it to be?
In the east plot, directly up this path.
This way, Stevens. Bring your men. We must hurry.
But what's wrong, Mr. Poirot? Why the police?
If we are not too late, you will have your answer. Stevens, look. There on the hill. They're getting into their car.
Yeah.
Stop! Stop! Save your breath and your ammunition. They're out of range.
We're always too late in this case.
I would not say that, my friend. Regard. We put them to such haste, they neglected to bury Monsieur Harkness.
God, the coffin's empty. They took Harkness's body with them.
Come, Stevens, your face shows the worries of the world. Do not be so depressed.
Well, I'm not exactly happy, Poirot. Never taken you so long to figure out a case. You always had something that helped us when I came to your apartment before.
Patience, mon ami. The harvesting of the clues grows near, eh?
I can't wait for any harvest. I'm going to take all the people involved in this case and throw them into jail.
Mon ami. Now you are not using your little gray cells.
You work on the gray cells. I'm going to fill my cells down at police headquarters.
And that will be a benefit to no one. We must proceed with calm.
How can I be calm? We're up against a dead end. We'd only gotten to that cemetery 5 minutes earlier. This whole thing's driving me crazy.
I admit the case holds a few peculiar aspects.
Peculiar? Is that all you can call it? Now, look, Poirot, we go to a funeral, but before we get there, the mourners decide to take a powder. Then they take the body with them. What's going on? Am I losing my mind?
I can only reflect on the case itself, Stevens, not on your personality.
Why are you so quiet? You got something up your sleeve?
It is always possible that something may pop out.
Well, it had better soon. I can't stand much more of this. The funeral this morning was too much for me. I still can't understand what they wanted with that body.
Sacre bleu, it is I, Stevens. I, Hercule Poirot, who have been blind.
What do you mean, Poirot? What's the matter?
Stevens, it has been in front of my eyes all this time. The most important clue. And I have kicked it away like an unwanted bill.
Okay, let's have it.
Listen carefully, Stevens. This morning at the cemetery, when we frightened the men away. You remember?
Yeah, of course. Go on.
Now think carefully. You did not see any of those men carry a body with them.
Wait a minute. No, they weren't. You're right.
Exactly. And the reason they were not carrying a body was because there was no body to carry.
What?
But the question remains, What was in that coffin that they were so anxious to take with them?
Well, I don't know. Do you?
I have a small idea.
What else can you put in the casket except a body?
A great many things, mon ami. But the point to follow here is about the bodies which were removed from the 6 open graves.
Yeah, what about them?
Think back to our interview with Monsieur and Madame Colte. He was very much alive. And we could not find even a trace of those other dead gentlemen, except...
Except Robert Alden, who'd been dead for 25 years.
Exactly. Now, do you not see?
No, I don't.
The answer to my question is so simple, mon Dieu. There never were bodies in the graves that were opened.
Oh, I get it. Why, that's wonderful, Poirot. I still don't get the idea behind these phony burials and what sort of racket they've been running.
Well, that is a two-part question, mon ami. The first part I know. The second part, in due time.
You mean you know who's in back of all this?
There is only one possibility, Stephen. Since there were no bodies in the 6 graves that were opened, we can now proceed to apprehend the one man who claims to have seen all the 6 bodies.
Kermit J. Love, the undertaker. Yeah, but I think Kenton was in on it with him. He needed an accomplice.
Possibly. But it is Monsieur Love who interests me. And with such a man, we will have to move most carefully, eh? Have you ever tried to arrest a ghost, Stephen?
Maybe not, Poirot. But Love won't find me so easy to use in his disappearing bodies act. And this time, Kenton won't have an alibi.
Come, mon père.
Where are we going?
To a perfume store, and then to the funeral parlor of Monsieur Love.
Perfume store? This is no time to be buying gifts.
It is not a gift. I require some perfume.
Okay. This time I know which one of us is going crazy.
Why do I have to make so much noise? Oh, well, I will not awake those who sleep in this building. What have we here? They are beautiful. They are worth a great fortune.
I admire your taste, Monsieur Poirot.
Monsieur Love. It is I who must compliment you. These stolen furs are among the finest I have ever seen.
We took great care in selecting them.
And this table, magnifique. But did you not have difficulty in disposing of them?
Ordinarily, we would have.
But you initiated a new system, n'est-ce pas?
A system of cold storage, I would say.
Precisely. You put the furs in a coffin, selected a name at random, then buried only the name. The coffin contained the furs.
Who would think of looking for furs in a cemetery?
No one, monsieur. However, do you not think it was a bit obvious to proceed alphabetically so that you would know in what order to dig up the coffin?
We found it very satisfactory. What made you suspect us?
An even more obvious mistake, monsieur. Come, monsieur. Marking the cabinets that were supposed to contain bodies, but which actually held the stolen furs. S. Martin, P. Fox. If you intended that as a joke, it was a poor one.
I'm afraid it was just expedient, Mr. Poirot. I have no sense of humor.
Well, monsieur, I'm glad to see that you are so reasonable. Inspector Stevens is waiting outside.
Denny!
Yes, Mr. Love.
The driver of the hearse, Monsieur Denny. It is only natural he would be in this little game.
His name, Mr. Poirot, in your case, should be Charon.
An apt allusion, Monsieur Love. Charon ferried the bodies of the living across the river Styx, and they died.
Which is exactly what is going to happen to you.
But, monsieur, did I not tell you that Inspector Stevens is waiting outside?
The way you're going out of here, Mr. Poirot, not even Inspector Stevens will know that it's you. You're going to be carried in a coffin. Watch his hand, Denny. It's in his pocket. All right, Denny. Get him in this coffin before that blasted Stevens gets...
He's heavy for such a little guy.
That's it. Don't bother screwing the top down. We'll do that later.
It sure smells sweet. Like a flower almost.
Never mind that. Let's get going.
Yeah, I'll take the back end.
Don't hurry now.
Hold it a second, buddy.
Officer, please. We are dealing with the dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I see you're still working, Mr. Love.
Yes, Inspector. Unfortunately, our sad work never ends.
Something smells pretty funny to me around here, Riley. What would you say it was?
I don't know, sir, but it sure smells to high heaven.
I'd say it was perfume. Let's have a look in that. Grab it, Riley. Don't move.
Will you kindly assist me, Monsieur Stevens?
Ah, glad you're all right, Poirot.
All right. Mon ami, I did not mind the blow on the head. But did you have to be so stupid as to allow them to drop this coffin?
Hey, wait a minute, Poirot. Don't get sore. Where are you going?
I am not angry, my friend. I merely go home to take a bath.
Be sure to listen next week when Agatha Christie, America's favorite mystery writer, brings you her favorite sleuth, Hercule Poirot, starring Harold Huber in The Parallel Murder Case. Music for Poirot is composed and conducted by Sylvan Levin. The program is directed by Carl Eastman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. I think that sometimes detective shows, they can go too far in making the police look incompetent. And, I tend to think that we appreciate more the detectives when we have police who know what they're doing and still aren't able to solve it. Then we feel like we're watching someone do something extraordinary. If you have a situation where you make the policeman too bumbling and incompetent, you just kind of think, okay, well, this is good. The policeman is doing, or the detective is doing what the policeman would have done if he actually knew what he was doing. But this one, I think, had some pretty interesting twist regardless. I was... as we were listening to this, they had a lot of suspects, and I think they just seemed to get a lot of content into this particular mystery. So, definitely a good story. All right. Well, now we're going to turn to all these listener comments and feedback. We begin with Kelly, who says, "Hi, Adam. I just wanted to thank you again for the Radio Archives gift certificate. I used it to get a great Doc Savage audiobook that I enjoyed so much that I've since purchased 3 more from them." And she said, this is regarding episode 642. I just finished listening to tonight's Poirot podcast and your commentary, and I just had to write and mention how surprised I was that you didn't seem to recognize this as merely a short episode of one of the most famous Agatha Christie's mysteries and later movies of all time, Death on the Nile. It was a 1978 movie with Peter Ustinov, Mia Farrow, George Kennedy, Betty Davis, and many other huge stars. It has been redone so many times that I was surprised that you talked as if you had never heard of it before. Normally, your knowledge of your subject is very vast and complete. I know you can't possibly be an expert on everything. No one can, but you might want to bone up on the subject a little for future podcasts. Just a thought. Anyway, thanks again, and please count me as still a huge fan and loyal supporter of your wonderfully entertaining podcast. And Kelly wasn't the only one to notice this. It was a comment shared by G. Benjamin. Why? Well, thanks so much for the comments, Kelly. I had not noticed the connection. I'll be honest that I have, over the past year, in anticipation of getting to the Poirot podcast, I've been boning up on the series. I'm familiar, or have heard at least, most of the short stories, and I've gotten some familiarity with various novels. I'd say maybe 10 or 11. But the subject of Poirot is so vast, and the number of movies made, it is, I still have more to learn regarding this character. It's been so. Apologies on that. If I missed something else, just be sure to let me know. And if I don't know it, I will certainly soon, because I'm continuing to get more information and learn more of the Poirot story. But there is a lot to pick up and learn more about. So appreciate your comment and your continued support, Kelly. But that will do it for today. We will be back tomorrow with Let George Do It. And then join us next Tuesday for another adventure with Poirot. Well, today's episode of Let George Do It is brought to you by the support of our listeners. Thank you so much for your support. We have a couple lost episodes between last week's episode and this one, Tongalani and the Marauder, both of which are available on the Radio Archives set of Let George Do It, but in the Canadian syndication. But here now is today's episode, this one from February 19th, 1951, and it's called How Guilty Can You Get?
Personal notice, danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Standard Oil Company of California, on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West, invites you to Let George Do It. How guilty can you get? Another adventure of George Valentine.
My dear Mr. Valentine, I am one of the richest men in Sand Hill Center. As a Ring Lardner character might say, I've made my pile. Ha ha. There's nothing that makes a man as nervous and unhappy as $1 million. Ha ha. Yes, you will laugh. You won't believe my fears. You won't believe what kind of woman my wife is. You won't even believe she might be carrying on and plotting with another man. Well, you'd better believe that and come to see me immediately, or Sand Hill Center may be without the services of its only millionaire. After all I've given to this town, the one thing I don't want to give them is the pleasure of enjoying my funeral. Yours for a long life, ha ha, signed Fred Vincent Liggett.
Yes, my husband's at home. Why?
Well, I'm George Valentine. This is Miss Claire Brooks, my assistant.
Oh, yes, of course you're Mr. Valentine.
Well, may we come in?
I don't know. I'm not sure. You see, I'm Mrs. Liggett.
Yes, I get it.
The wife of the millionaire. The wife of the man who made his pile in Sand Hill Center. What's the matter? Did I say something wrong?
No, of course not. But if you'd please tell your husband that we're here.
Yours for a long life. Ha ha. Oh, yes, come in. Come right in. Join the party.
You seem to know all about it.
All about my husband's mail, you mean, don't you? I just read it. Look, here it is. A carbon copy from his pocket.
Oh, well, look, Mrs. Liggett.
Such a funny letter, wasn't it? Ha ha. Such a funny man, my husband. So well-liked, so admired, so trusting. So able to see what other people are up to. So willing to believe the best about people.
Wait a minute, please, Mrs. Liggett. I know how it must make you feel to read what he's written about you.
But to go prying, to read his mail. But I am reading all of the things in his pockets. You walk in here the moment I've just been reading them.
Mrs. Liggett,
because
please.
The sheriff wanted me to read everything. He told me to look, too. To look at all the nice things my husband ever wrote about anybody.
Stop it, I said, please.
Sheriff?
What? Yes, of course. Because I've already done it, don't you see? Well, what else could you see? What else could you think? Go on in there. Go see my husband. He's dead.
Mrs. Liggett's been running around here like a chicken with her head cut off.
Yeah, well, Miss Brooks will try to calm her down a little, Sheriff. I just wanted to know what happened.
Or around to the neighbors to try to get help. I only been here myself a few minutes. Medical examiner's on his way from the city.
Uh-huh. She found him just lying here, huh?
Poisoned. I don't know much, but I know that much. Look at his face. Sure, poisoned.
That doesn't mean anybody did it, necessarily.
Yeah, look at the glass. That's what he took it in.
White powder of some kind. Must have tried to get to the phone.
Hey, what's that bottle you're waving around?
A prescription. Center drugstore. Found it in the bathroom. Showed it to her and she fell apart.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? Mrs. Liggett admitted she measured this stuff and gave it to him in a glass of milk.
Well, if it's a doctor's prescription...
Her name's also on the drugstore receipt for it. She bought it.
But if she...
He drank a glass of milk. That doesn't mean he knew what was in it, does it?
Oh. So you've got a suspicious nature, too, huh?
Well, the first thing I seen in his pocket was that letter to you. What would you think?
Here, give me that bottle. Prescription number 537...
53785. What about it?
Well, hello, Mr. Manx.
None of that Mr. stuff with me. Deputy brought me right out, Bill. He says you're climbing out on a limb and making...
This is Mr. Valentine, Ed Manx. Owns the Center Drugstore.
Hello.
Now, listen here, Bill. Your deputy's going over the books to check that prescription. In 17 years, my place has never been accused of anything.
Nobody's accusing you of anything, Ed.
Be quiet, will you? The boy mixed that. It's his initials. He's brand new this week, but he knows his stuff. He's a trained pharmacist. I've watched him. He don't make mistakes.
Nobody said anybody
so
made
for you to
it.
go popping off, accusing people, saying it's poison from my drugstore that caused this whole thing.
No, hold it, both of you, will you? So far as I can see, Sheriff, you don't even know this is a murder yet.
Ha! That's what I said the minute I heard the rumors. Just because nobody liked Liggett, just because he had too much money and too many bad jokes.
Skip it, will you? Was Liggett sick that he needed medicine regularly?
No.
Yes. Ha! There, you see? Right off the bat, you go off half-cocked about
what was
his
the matter
condition.
with him?
Pretty bad case of anemia. Ask his wife. She's picked up medicine for him every week for the past several weeks.
Her again. His wife did she?
Well, what have you got against her? Holy smoke, Bill.
Who was Liggett's doctor? Who wrote that prescription?
Nichols. Everett Nichols. Only one in town.
Yes, and my file's got that prescription in Nichols' own handwriting. The same number stamped right on it, 53785. Here, let me see the bottle.
Here, look all you want.
Huh. Practically full. Dose is a teaspoon, it said. Well, what are you trying to say? She gave him an overdose? She couldn't. There's no more than a spoonful taken out of there.
All right, Ed.
But I don't get it. Poison? Sure, it's poison. Doc Nichols' prescription will show that. Same as the boy who mixed it. Your deputy's getting him now.
All right.
Wait a second, Manx. All you're doing is confirming whatever the sheriff thinks. So what is it, Buster? What don't we know?
Ed, you've seen how the Liggetts were getting along.
You mean headed for a divorce?
I mean her running around all the time.
Huh. Well, I can't say as I blame her. Liggett was no charmer.
Doc Nichols is.
Oh?
Ambitious man, Doc Nichols. And seeing as how Liggett mentioned something about a man in that letter to you, Mr. Valentine.
Well, maybe she's gone out to the club dancing a few times with Nichols, but that don't mean that
I don't like my job either, but I find a man obviously poisoned. Hadn't eaten nothing since breakfast a long time back. Takes milk with a high-powered prescription in it, given to him by his wife. Picked up at the store by his wife.
Well, she did do most of the driving in the family.
I know. Prescribed by a doctor who had an eye on their money. A doctor I should have brought here right now to tell us the things we don't know.
Hey, clear that up, will you? Why didn't you get him?
Because I can't, Mr. Valentine. He's not at his office.
He's got a place in the country.
I phoned. I got the neighbor to check. He's not there either. Why bother with details? The point is the doctor's disappeared. And at a time like this, disappearing don't look good.
How should I know where Dr. Nichols is? I don't know anything about him.
The sheriff says you've gone out a few times with him.
Of course that's what the sheriff says. I don't blame him. The rich man's wife who goes out with other men. It's not nice. No matter what your husband's like, no matter how separated you are, no matter how much of a gentleman the doctor might be.
All right, Mrs. Liggett, all right. I gather your husband wasn't much of a guy to live with, but...
I haven't seen Dr. Nichols for days and days.
All right, skip it.
Tell Mr. Valentine what you told me about Mr. Liggett. He was always suspicious of her, George. Suspicious of everybody.
Why should I tell him that? He wouldn't believe me.
Her husband told other people that he didn't trust her. That he was afraid someday she might try to get rid of him.
Of course, naturally. I'm a murderess. Ask the sheriff.
Look, Mrs. Liggett, I know it's tough. Before we even know the facts, everybody jumps to a conclusion. Why? Well, because I'm here. Because your husband wrote to me.
Because Fred picked the time he did to write you one of his ridiculous letters. Yes, in a way, it is your fault that I'm in trouble.
Yeah. You mean now it's up to me to get you out of trouble, huh? To prove it wasn't murder.
Yes.
All right, don't worry. I was hired on this case, so I'll go on with it.
Mister, I only answer Dr. Nichols' telephone. I don't read his mind. It's Miss Boggs who's his nurse.
But the sheriff says his nurse was off duty. She always is on Saturday mornings.
Well, so was I after 10 o'clock. The telephone exchange takes over after then.
10 o'clock. That's when Dr. Nichols left?
Exactly. We walked out together, and he didn't tell me he was going anyplace special.
And that's the last you saw of him, Miss Broom. The last anybody saw of him.
Here, let's see the list of phone calls, then. This the last one? Hemlock number, yesterday afternoon?
That's right.
But you said he had patients. He was working this morning.
Well, that's just a few regulars, that's all. There was Cy Benson for his bandage, and Widow Morris, that's a heart. Pills for the Jefferson baby, and, well, of course, Fred Liggett.
Fred Liggett this morning?
Well, when do you think he got that prescription? Only if you think that there's anything wrong with any prescription that Dr. Nichols...
I'm not the sheriff, Miss Broom.
Well, it's a pity you're not. And I'll tell you another thing. The doctor, maybe he took Mrs. Liggett out once or twice, but he'd never get mixed up with a woman like that.
Oh, you don't think so much of her either, huh?
I didn't say that.
Hemlock 8339 in the phone book. Just looking up that last number yesterday afternoon, George. It's the Liggett number.
Well, all right, what of it? It was her phone, the doctor. So what? That don't mean anything. Maybe to talk about the weather. What of it?
Well, nothing. Except she was so careful not to mention it to us, George.
Yeah.
And now, what do you think you're doing?
Still looking for the doctor?
Well, supper time. If I know him, he'll be back home by supper time. That crazy sheriff saying he's disappeared just because he can't find him right
Hello?
away.
Oh, hello. Let me talk to Mrs.
Valentine.
Oh, it's you, Sheriff.
I came back to meet the medical examiner.
Good, I'll be right back.
No, you won't. This thing's mixed up enough as it is. I'm leaving for the country.
What?
You know, I told you the doc's country place was empty. Well, I got a man out there says his desk and everything are all cleaned up, just like a man does when he leaves town, runs away.
All right, Sheriff. Tell me later.
I know I'm wrong, because he didn't disappear.
Huh?
Doc Nichols, he's lying across that desk, dead, with a bullet in him.
We'll return to tonight's adventure, George Valentine, in just a moment.
Listen to the difference. Yes, now you can actually hear authentic scientific proof of the difference between new RPM motor oil and premium-type motor oils, as designated by the American Petroleum Institute. Auto engines are equipped with irradiated piston rings, and during operation, minute particles of radioactive metal wear off the rings. Geiger counters are thus able to detect the amount of wear actually taking place. Listen now as the Geiger counters click off the difference. First, the low wear rate of the new RPM. Now, the much faster wear rate of the conventional oil. Now, new RPM again. You have just heard authentic scientific proof that new RPM motor oil cuts in half the wear rate of critical engine parts, doubles the life of the average auto engines between major overhauls due to lubrication.
Proved in the laboratory and checked out in severe road service, new RPM motor oil is sold with a money-back guarantee of satisfaction. Ask for it at standard stations and independent Chevron gas stations where they say and mean, we take better care of your car. Now, back to tonight's adventure of George Valentine. How guilty can you get? Well, the sheriff in Sand Hill Center seems to feel that Mrs. Liggett might be very guilty indeed. And why? Because just before his death, her husband wrote you a letter accusing her of all sorts of things. Another man in her life, for instance. And the sheriff thinks that might be Dr. Nichols, the same doctor who prescribed poison for Fred Liggett. The only trouble is, now Dr. Nichols is dead, too. And if your name is George Valentine, you know it's not going to be quite as easy as you once thought to prove this was not a murder case.
That That you, Valentine?
Yeah, right here, Sheriff. Thanks for waiting.
You ready to go? It's a good 15 miles out there to the country place.
Wait a minute. Who's this?
Oh, Dr. Milliken, City Police.
Oh, hello, Doctor. What was it?
Miss Brooks, Mr. Valentine.
How do you do? You mean the poison? Strychnine, I think. The hospital's running some tests for me.
Strychnine?
On the prescription, and Ed Manx found me that. And the boy who made it up confirmed it. It's Nichols' handwriting, all right.
So a doctor just prescribes poison right in the open, and a wife gives it to her husband in a glass of milk.
Couldn't be called medicine for him by the farthest stretch of the imagination.
It couldn't be called sensible either, until Nichols turned up dead.
What do you mean?
Well, suppose Nichols was being used and didn't know it. Or pressured into writing the thing. That's the easiest explanation.
I wouldn't guess.
And I'm all through guessing, too. So come on. This time we're not even going to open our mouths until we know what the facts are. Deputy out at Nichols hasn't touched a thing. Waiting for us right now.
I changed my mind. Leave me out. Yeah, you guys go out there. I'll follow you.
All right. Come on, Doc. Step on it.
Okay.
George, why don't you want to go along?
Oh, I don't know, Angel. Except that I'd rather talk to a woman than a corpse any day.
Mr. Valentine, I assure you I've never been mixed up in any way with Dr. Nichols. I'm sorry he's dead, but I don't know anything about it, any more than I really know anything about my husband's death.
You telephoned the doctor yesterday afternoon. You didn't tell us about that earlier.
Didn't I?
No. In fact, you said you hadn't seen him for weeks.
Oh, I'm sure I said a great many things today, Miss Brooks. Words. None of them half as wild as the things I've been feeling. Do you know what it's like to have people automatically assume you're a murderess who... Oh, but I haven't seen him. That was true. I just called him for Fred, I guess.
For Fred?
Well, I had the car and I had to do some shopping, so Fred was late and couldn't go to the doctor's.
You mean he was supposed to have gone yesterday instead of this morning?
Yes, I phoned Dr. Nichols to change the appointment, that's all.
You... Oh, brother, what's the matter with me? Strychnine.
What?
Sure, of course. Look, what do you know about your husband's illness? About any treatment he's taken or anything?
Well, I really haven't paid too much attention, I'm afraid. I know it's anemia,
well,
but...
skip it, never mind.
George.
Come on, Angel. I want to get on the phone to that Miss Broom in a hurry.
Miss Broom?
Yeah, unless I can think of the name myself. Ed Manx, the drugstore man. He might help.
What on earth are you talking about?
Morris, that's it. The widow Morris. A lady with a heart.
What do you expect to find?
I don't know, Angel. See if she's in first.
Well, it's the only Morris in the phone book. But if you'd waited until I called Miss Broom...
I didn't want to wait for anything, Angel. I don't know much about medicine, but I know enough to... Uh-oh. Come on.
Her lights aren't on.
Mrs. Morris? Mrs. Morris? Oh, here, the switch is over.
Poison.
Sure. The same expression on her face.
Just like Fred Liggett.
Been dead for several hours, I guess. Here, look, here we are. Bottle. White powder.
What, George?
Brooksy, it's a prescription. Bought today.
Strychnine? The same...
No. Strychnine wouldn't have hurt Mrs. Morris here any, would it? Woman being treated for heart trouble? It's a common method of treatment, in fact.
George!
Yeah. Now you begin to get it. Suppose Fred Liggett, who didn't have heart trouble, got the wrong medicine. And the widow Morris
You
here...
mean the prescriptions were mixed? And he was being treated with something that she got and that killed her.
Anemia he had, wasn't it?
Oh, but George, no, a doctor couldn't make a mistake like that. It's impossible.
That's what I always thought until right now.
And why would he himself have been killed? The doctor, I mean.
Well, let's get out there with the sheriff before he buries all the evidence. Because maybe the doctor's death was just as simple, Angel. Maybe we can wind this one up fast.
Yes, Mr. Valentine, quite possible. Anemia is sometimes treated with arsenic, and it can be taken orally.
Look, she was an old woman, Dr. Milliken. Had a bad heart anyway. It wouldn't have taken much to...
Exactly. I'll get down there as fast as I can.
Okay, thanks. Well, Sheriff?
Well, Valentine, look for yourself. I told you before, I'm all through playing detective.
When did Nichols die?
I don't know for sure, but a little time after the other two, apparently. Lying across the desk here, arm outstretched.
Oh, you're doing fine. You're one jump ahead of me.
Found the gun in the wastebasket. One shot.
Huh?
He had plenty of time to learn about Liggett and that Morris woman, in case he didn't already know.
Wastebasket right beside the desk.
Funny guy, Nichols. Ambitious, very proud of himself, his standing in the community, his reputation, his career.
Right arm outstretched, huh? Out over the edge, like this.
Sure, right-handed. You know, I said earlier, his stuff looked all arranged. Done in a hurry, but sort of like a man who's leaving town suddenly.
Or a man who fired a single shot. The gun drops from his hand into the wastebasket, and then he slumps forward on the desk.
Yeah, you don't have to go through the motions. I already done it. But you said a long time ago it might not be murder.
I was guessing.
Now you're not. Because if Liggett and Morris were mistakes, the most horrible mistakes I ever heard of, and I guess this proves it, doesn't it?
When the doctor, whose fault it was, commits suicide.
That's it. Just look at the evidence. That's what happened.
Suicide. So that's how it ends.
Oh, the poor man. The poor man. Think how he must have felt when he found out, when he realized what he'd...
Yeah, the mistake was his, all right. Wasn't the drugstore's fault. You pharmacist on duty. He didn't know the people. He wouldn't have caught him.
Just think how Dr. Nichols must
you
have...
were pretty upset by this, too, Mrs. Liggett. You were blamed for a while.
Well, everyone knew how Fred and I were. I can't blame anyone for jumping to conclusions.
No. And your husband's letter to me and my coming here threw you into a blue panic, too, didn't it?
Well, I wouldn't exactly say panic. I think I must have been mostly hysterical.
I'd say panic. Why not? It was the first thing that started to upset your plan.
My what?
Well, isn't that what you'd call it? When you plot your husband's death? When you almost get away with it?
Mr. Valentine, I'm sure
Just to be accurate, I'll say you and the boyfriend. He obviously did most of it.
Did most of what, George, for heaven's sake?
There'd been gossip about her and the doctor. Her and several other guys, as a matter of fact. But if there was a real boyfriend and they were plotting to get rid of Liggett, you don't think they'd let the gossips in on it, do you?
Just whom are you referring to?
The only man it could be. To pull off the most involved but simple crime I ever heard of. Ed Manx, the druggist. Who else? Oh, sure, very funny. Go ahead, laugh. But there's a little too much coincidence for my blood. Ed Manx had a new pharmacist filling prescriptions today. Now, why?
I'm sure I haven't the slightest idea.
Manx is a pharmacist himself. For 17 years, he said. Well, why put the new boy on the same day two people get poison prescriptions filled?
How on earth do you think Ed could know that?
The widow Morris got a prescription filled every week. Who'd know that? Who'd know there's enough strychnine in it to kill your husband? Who'd know the effect of his medicine on her?
George, wait a minute. They'd have nothing against the widow Morris. No reason to want her dead.
They wouldn't care whether it killed her or not, Angel. Just her tough luck that it did. The important thing was setting up the doctor's mistake. So Manx could get him out to that country place and set up that poor tragic suicide.
No, that's not true.
All right, let's get back to the drugstore. The coincidence of both prescriptions being made out and delivered on the same day. You set that up, Mrs. Liggett. There's a record of all the doctor's phone calls, remember? And you were foolish enough to explain the last call in his book yesterday. To explain that you delayed your husband by shopping in town. So could he please come in this morning just after the widow Morris? There you are, all set up.
Stop it. I won't listen to
you.
you.
The kid's on his way out here now, the pharmacist. Because as I got it, Manx gave him those prescriptions to make up and deliver.
No, he didn't. I'm sure he didn't.
What did you say? How could you know anything about that?
I don't. Of course I don't. How could I? You're trying to mix me up, that's all.
And why should that bother you? Ingredients have to be there before they can be mixed, lady.
Stop it.
Sure, go ahead. Get hysterical. Maybe you'll pull another horrible mistake like you did this afternoon.
What?
Running around like a chicken with a head cut off, as the sheriff put it. Screaming to the neighbors for help and so on. And the last call to the doctor was yesterday afternoon.
Oh, George, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh.
That's what was really important about that list of his phone calls. Mrs. Liggett's husband was dying, and she didn't call the doctor.
Yes, I did. But he wasn't there.
The exchange takes all of his calls for him when he's out. It wasn't on the list.
I mean, I called his country place direct.
Oh, yeah, I see. And how did you know he'd be there?
Well, I didn't, but...
Your husband was dying, and you didn't call the doctor.
Stop saying that. One of the neighbors called for me, I thought.
Sure. Every one of them must have offered to do it. But they don't show on his list. So you must have stopped them from calling by saying you'd already tried to reach him. But you didn't.
No. I mean, yes. Ed Manx will tell you that.
Well, come on now. Make up your mind, sister. You didn't want the doctor reached by anyone because Ed was taking him out to be killed. Isn't that right?
No, that isn't true. He was at the country place by then. He was... Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on. Trip yourself up a few more times.
Stop it. Oh, stop it. Please stop it.
George, to have killed 3 people in cold blood.
Well, they thought they had to do it, Angel. Small town, her husband's money, and the suspicions he'd advertised. They knew it'd take a very slick plan to get rid of Liggett and keep it covered up. But they had their slick plan, all right.
Yeah, so slick they fell down on it. But it almost worked, didn't it? I mean, the sheriff believed it, so did I.
Well, so did I, until I caught that phone call business. Besides, Angel, it did seem pretty impossible that any doctor could ever mix his prescriptions like that.
George, I still don't understand. They were the doctor's prescriptions, and they were made out to the wrong people.
Oh, Manx switched them, that's all. Take about 1 word of forgery on each one to keep the new pharmacist from getting them uncrossed. And who could forge a word or two better than the guy who for 17 years has had to decipher that gibberish doctors write on prescriptions?
Ooh, how guilty can you get?
About as much as they were.
Yeah. And now Fred Liggett's $1 million goes right back to Sandhill, I suppose.
Good place for it. I wouldn't want it.
Oh, George, now that's no way to speak of $1 million. Matter, are you afraid your wife might be tempted to kill you for it? Or, you mean you'd be afraid you might be able to afford a wife?
Look, if you want to change the subject, you do it like this.
Oh, darling. But I never really change the subject.
No, you don't. It's always the same. That's what I love about you. You're persistent. Good night, Angel.
When it's rainy weather, what are the essentials for your safety on the highway? Good tires and good brakes, certainly. But there are 2 other very important things, your car's headlights and the windshield wiper blades. That's especially true at this time of year. So if there's any doubt at all about the condition of lights and wiper blades on your car, do yourself and your family a favor. Tomorrow, have them inspected at a standard station or at an independent Chevron gas station. Here the men want to make sure you have safety and peace of mind on the highway. With them, it's just plain good business. That's why they check many things on your car, including the lights. That's why they examine the wiper blade to see if it has turned hard and brittle or if it is worn unevenly. When you do need a wiper blade, they can supply you on the spot a quality-made Atlas wiper blade that literally shaves the water from your windshield. See you tomorrow at your independent Chevron gas station or your standard station where they say and mean we take better care of your car. Tonight's adventure of George Valentine has been brought to you by Standard Oil Company of California on behalf of independent Chevron gas stations and standard stations throughout the West. Robert Bailey is starred as George, with Virginia Gregg as Brooksy. Let George Do It is written by David Victor and Jackson Gillis and directed by Don Clark. Lee Patrick was heard as Marion, Ed Begley as Manx, Joe Duvall as the Sheriff, Joe Forte as Liggett, and Myra Marsh as Miss Broom. The music was composed and presented by Eddie Dunstetter. Your announcer, John Heaston. Listen again next week, same time, same station, to Let George Do It. Let George Do It is heard overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. Well, it's one of those cases where the detective sets out to undermine a case of gossip and rumors that implicates a certain party. And then in the course of his investigation, goes around a bit and then comes back to the same party who was implicated with the malicious gossip. It's a very interesting plot. It definitely keeps your head twirling a bit. And certainly this was a very improbable accident that she and the pharmacist tried to set up. So, yeah, that's kind of what happens when you get too cute when you're planning a murder. Well, we turn now to listener comments and feedback. Lisa says, thank you so much for bringing these shows to us. I listen to it, as many of your listeners do, during my workday. I roam the hallway of my work with my headphones in. I just caught up on Let George Do It, and now I'm starting on Nero Wolfe. I must say I love the A&E version by Timothy Hutton better. The Nero Wolfe in the TV series was gruff but lovable, whereas the radio series one seems to me just gruff and irritable. I really feel sorry for the Archies. Well, I really do feel that the radio version of Nero Wolfe, played by Sidney Greenstreet, was more of an extension of the typical Sidney Greenstreet character than tied to the Nero Wolfe character. It's kind of interesting in a way, and there may be some closeness to that. I found and I know this is odd if you're a fan of comic books, when I've been viewing some of the portrayals of the Kingpin, they reminded me a little bit as kind of a sinister version of Nero Wolfe. It turns out that the Kingpin was actually based on Sidney Greenstreet. So, yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. She goes on to say, as a history major, I enjoy looking at the world my grandparents grew up in. Though they were simple farmers, I love the episode of The Abbotts where they went through Ohio. My grandparents are in Ashland, Ohio. Small world. My wife actually attended college up in Ashland for about 2.5 years. Thank you for transporting me to the 40s and 50s. I wish I'd been alive during those times, minus the racism, sexism, etc. Yeah, and I wish I'd been alive with today's medical science. It's a few simple things, but I don't quite know if I would have made it during the time of old-time radio. So it's probably best just for me to listen. Lisa says, hope your wife and your kitty and you are having an awesome day. Thanks, Adam, and sorry for the long email. Not at all, Lisa. Thanks so much for the email. And over on Facebook, Peter comments, thanks for making available Nero Wolfe with Sidney Greenstreet. I listen to the episodes while flying, and I do fly often. It is great to close one's eyes and get enveloped in an era when radio was king and when our imagination was everything. Sidney was, of course, in The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca, as well as some other movies like The Mask of Demetrios. And funny thing about Greenstreet, he didn't actually start till the Maltese Falcon when he was already quite advanced in years, but really became such a great icon that he's been copied for years and years and years. And now, of course, even some younger writers are copying him and may not even be fully aware of who they're copying, but his influence continues. All right. Well, thank you so much for all the great comments and email. We will be back tomorrow with Sherlock Holmes, and then join us next week for another episode of Let George Do It. Well, it's time for today's episode of Sherlock Holmes. This one is called The Case of the Everblooming Roses. It's brought to you by the financial support of our listeners. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's get into our case.
From New York City, the makers of Clipper Craft Clothes for Men and 1,036 leading retail stores from coast to coast present the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. This week's adventure, The Case of the Everblooming Roses. Well, here we are again in Dr. Watson's delightful study. Just outside the open window, a black-winged panobler is singing his evensong from a branch thick with blossom.
We would say it is heavy with May, Mr. Harris. It's the charming custom in England to refer to all the lovely flowering that bursts into bloom at this time as the May.
Of course, I never thought of it, Dr. Watson, but that must be where this month gets its name.
Right. In the British Isles, May is also a very charming and popular feminine given name. Yes, I think I'll tell you of a particularly lovely young thing called May who narrowly escaped death, and all because of a spray of yellow roses that refused to wither.
Sounds quite poetic, Dr. Watson.
Macabre would be a better description, Mr. Harris. It all occurred in May. May, when nature sheds its winter garment.
Yes, and nature isn't the only one to feel that urge, I gather.
I was wondering how long it would take you to notice my new spring outfit.
Well, you know, I noticed it the minute I came in the door. The fit, the quiet authority that's achieved only with good tailoring and fine materials. No, all the talk about high prices doesn't affect you at all if you wear Clipper Craft clothes. Yes, if you wear Clipper Craft, you haven't a worry in the world about getting the most for your money. You're certain of long-wearing fabric, superb tailoring, and smart style. You've always been sure of these from Clipper Craft. But today, Clipper Craft's old-fashioned values are all the more remarkable. They're made possible by the famous Clipper Craft Plan, concentrating the buying power of 1,036 of the nation's finest stores from coast to coast, providing steady year-round operation, reducing manufacturing and distribution costs, and putting the savings in your pocket. If you've never worn Clipper Craft, we guarantee you the finest suits you've ever seen for only $40 and $47.50. Luxurious tropicals from $33.75 to $40, and handsome sport jackets at only $26.50. So join the millions who enjoy Clipper Craft clothes. Compare Clipper Craft with clothes selling for many dollars more. Now, Doctor, back to the charming lady who was named for this verdant month.
May. Yes, it was rather late in May, as I remember. The year was 1909 or 10, I believe. Holmes had retired to a small property he'd acquired on the coast of Sussex and was deep in bee culture.
Leaving you alone and deserted.
Except for a delightful and devoted little wife. Yes, exactly. Well, to begin at the beginning, I'd gone down to Sussex for a long weekend of fresh air and relaxation.
You might have known better than to expect relaxation around Sherlock Holmes, Doctor.
Oh, how right you are, Mr. Harris. Well, it was Saturday morning. Holmes and I were finishing a leisurely breakfast which had been served up on the east terrace overlooking the channel. I had just filled my pipe and was offering my tobacco pouch to Holmes when, to my surprise, he refused.
Never touch the stuff.
Never touch tobacco, Holmes, you prevaricator. When I think of the tons I've watched you consume, a regular inferno.
Just the same, I've given it up.
What, anything wrong with your health?
No, I've given up nicotine because my bees don't like it, you know. You go out among the hives reeking of nicotine and see what happens to you, Watson.
I have no intention of going near the silly things.
Bees, my dear Watson, are not silly. If the human race conducted its affairs with half the discipline and intelligence, we'd have fewer fools like the latter-day Jehu, who is at this moment scorching up the cliff road in this direction.
What? Oh, you mean the chap driving the automobile, I take it.
Naturally. The blithering idiot must be courting death at close to 40 miles an hour.
Holmes is coming in here.
Made the turn on 2 wheels. It's a wonder he missed the gatepost.
Phew, look at the dust he's kicking up. Well, at least he did manage to stop the juggernaut. For a moment I thought he was going right on through the kitchen.
Well, this is a bit of luck. I'd hoped to see Holmes, of course, but to find Watson as well.
My dear fellow, the pleasure's mutual. Isn't it, Watson?
Huh?
You know, Holmes, I don't believe the old boy remembers me.
How can I tell if I remember you or not, all done up in that cap and goggles?
My dear Dilly, you'll have to forgive Watson. I've never been able to teach him to recognize people by their immutable features, the shape of the ears, the set of the jaw.
Dilly? Don't tell me it's old Peter Dillinghurst.
Now, the Reverend Dr. Dillinghurst, rector of Basham Church, I believe.
Yes, worse luck. That's what I've come to consult you about, Holmes. Things have been happening at Basham Church. Every morning, there are fresh roses on the late Lady Elfrida's tomb. And the old bell in the tower has started to ring again.
Well, but look here, Dillinghurst. People often place flowers on tombs, and church bells are quite frequently rung, you know.
Yes, but the people didn't place the roses, Watson, and people didn't ring the bell. Matter of fact, the bell hasn't been rung for 5 years. Not since the time it was hit by lightning and badly cracked. The stairs to the bell tower were destroyed by fire at that time and never replaced. No one can reach the rope.
Oh, well, then, what?
It's those confounded roses that are really the most disturbing phenomenon, Holmes. Basham Church is locked up. It's locked up every night after evensong. I attend to the locking up myself. Every night when I make the rounds to extinguish the candles, I notice the day's spray of yellow roses on Lady Elfrida's tomb. And every night they are faded and drooping.
Well, yellow roses always seem to be particularly perishable, eh, Holmes?
Don't interrupt, Watson.
The next morning, when I unlock the door and air out the church, there are the roses, as fresh as though they'd just been plucked. And no one has set foot inside the church.
Amazing, eh, Holmes?
My dear Dillinghurst, what makes you so positive that no one had entered the church?
I'm not a fool, Holmes. On several occasions I have scattered ashes, not only around the doors, but around Lady Elfrida's tomb as well. There's never been so much as a mouse tracked through them.
By Jove.
Furthermore, a group of schoolboys who've joined that new organization, what is it they call it? Oh, yes, the Boy Scouts.
Oh, I've heard of them, Holmes. Remarkable lads. They can rub 2 sticks together and make a fire, don't you know?
They didn't invent the process. Go on, Rector.
Well, as I was saying, the boys and their scoutmaster, the local librarian, volunteered to spend the night in Basham Church to see if they could find out who was responsible for the blooming roses and the ringing bell.
What did they discover?
Nothing, Holmes. Absolutely nothing. At exactly midnight, the bell rang and the roses bloomed afresh. Nobody, absolutely nobody, was within arm's reach of either.
Why are you so perturbed about all this, Dilly?
Because this occurrence is killing May, the present Lady Danesfield. May was the late rector's daughter, Holmes. I've known her since she was a child, and I came to Basham to act as her father's curate. May is, of course, much younger than Sir Albert, and Elfrida, his first wife. In fact, I think May was always afraid of Elfrida, who was a strange, cold throwback to her Danish ancestors. It's on Lady May's account that I ask you to investigate this matter, Holmes.
Well, what do you say, Watson? Shall we take a run over to Basham, Dilly's newfangled perambulator?
I'll go and get my coat and hat.
Oh, you won't need them, Watson. I've brought along caps and dusters for both of you. Come along. We shall have to drive like the devil if we're going to get back in time for choir practice. Heavens. I never realized the utter imbecility of barnyard fowl until I started to drive a car.
Dilly, look out! There's a boy on a bicycle!
Never touched him.
Oh. Tell me, Dillinghurst, first about the church bell. You say it sounds at midnight. How often has this occurred?
Every night since Lady Elfrida's birthday, the day those confounded yellow roses were placed on her tomb. That's nearly 2 weeks ago.
Yellow roses. Is there any significance to yellow roses?
Oh, yes, Holmes. Sir Albert Danesfield's first wife, the Lady Elfrida, came from Castle Odo, which is famous for its yellow roses. When the Lady Elfrida married Sir Albert, she brought along a half-dozen of the rose bushes in the family garden to plant them.
What happened to him?
Hugo, that's his name, still lives at the Hall, although he must be well over 80 by now.
Oh?
Well, he was always particularly devoted to Elfrida. And somehow he always managed, whether the season was early or late, to have those rose bushes covered with blossoms for Lady Elfrida's birthday. And every year, after his mistress died, on her birthday he'd bring a sheaf of yellow roses to Sir Albert, who'd carry them to Basham Church and place them on her tomb.
But every year up to now, the roses have withered in due course of time.
Well, not every year, Holmes. That is, the Lady Elfrida's been dead over 10 years.
Oh?
3 years ago, when Sir Albert decided to take a young wife, Well, you know how it is. He sort of neglected to keep up the custom of decorating his first wife's grave on her birthday.
Thoughtless of him, eh, Holmes?
Possibly.
Well, this year on Elfrida's birthday, old Hugo stopped Sir Albert and his young wife as they came out to take their morning stroll in the gardens.
Morning, Hugo.
Oh, Hugo, how beautiful. Look, Albert, the lovely yellow roses. Are they for me, Hugo?
No, Mum. Begging your ladyship's pardon. They're for her whose birthday this is. They're for her who loved and tended them, and who lies in her grave in Basham Church, buried there before her time was due.
That will do, Hugo.
If you take my advice, sir, you'll not forget to take her the flowers she loved this day. The Lady Elfrida was not one to take a slight without getting her own back.
Rubbish! You can't bullyrag me, Hugo. Life is for the living.
But we all must die sometime, Sir Albert.
Give me the flowers, Hugo. I'll see they're placed on Lady Elfrida's grave.
Thank you, ladyship. And may heaven protect you better than it did her.
Really, May, my dear, this is a bit ridiculous.
Oh, please, Albert. I'd like to put these on Elfrida's grave. They're beautiful this year, and it means so much to poor old Hugo.
Are you sure that's why you're doing it, my dear?
What do you mean?
Are you sure it's not because you're still a bit afraid of Elfrida?
Well, maybe it's for both reasons, Albert.
That's the second time, Dillinghurst, that you've mentioned the Lady May was afraid of her predecessor.
That's not as startling as it sounds, Holmes. Oh? Confound that man with his sheep. Does he have to take up the entire road? Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yes. Everyone was terrified of Elfrida. She was a cold, forbidding sort of woman, even in her affections. She should have had children. That might have made a difference. You see, she knew how desperately her husband wanted them, and, well, when the years went by and there were no heirs to carry on, Albert turned rather cold towards her.
Oh, unfeeling of him, eh, Holmes?
I've often suspected that Lady Elfrida's drowning in Sea Creek that runs past the hall wasn't as accidental as we were led to believe.
You mean, you think it was suicide?
There was no autopsy, I suppose.
Oh, good Lord, no. They just pulled her out of the weeds. She'd been missing for 3 days before the grappling hooks found her. They were afraid she'd done away with herself when they found the note.
What did it say?
I have gone to answer the call.
You say that May was always afraid of Lady Elfrida. What was the older woman's attitude toward the girl? Did she suspect her husband felt an attachment for her?
Oh, good heavens, no. May was only 12 years old when Lady Elfrida drowned. She was 19 when Sir Albert asked her to be his second wife.
You say they've been married 3 years. Are they happy?
I suppose so. Of course, Sir Albert's disappointed again that there are no children.
Maybe it wasn't entirely the Lady Elfrida's fault the first time, eh, Holmes?
Don't interrupt, Watson. Then Sir Albert's family may die out with him.
Oh, no, Holmes. There's Robert, Albert's brother, a half-brother, as a matter of fact. He's much younger, but he's rarely at home, always off hunting big game in India, Africa, some other outlandish place. He's just returned from Canada about 6 weeks ago.
How does he get on with Sir Albert's new wife?
Hardly has a word to say to her. Just keeps looking at her with those strange, black, burning eyes of his. His mother was Spanish, you know. They do say he takes after her.
I say, look at that magnificent sunset there, over in back of that steeple.
That's the steeple of Basham Church, Watson. We're nearly home. The town begins on the other side of the railroad tracks at the foot of the next decline. Would you care to drive to the church immediately, Holmes?
Oh, I say.
Oh, control yourself, Watson. I know you're famished. Suppose we pay a visit to the local inn first, Dillinghurst, and postpone our investigation of Basham Church until the witching hour of midnight.
Despite rising costs of materials and manufacturing, you still get the most for your money if you insist on Clippercraft clothes. Clippercraft's values are so remarkable that people constantly ask us how we do it. Well, the answer is the Clippercraft Plan, which, from a production standpoint, simply has modernized the fine old craft of clothes making. It brings you these amazing savings by concentrating the buying power of 1,036 of the nation's finest stores from coast to coast. Your own leading local establishment, the store you can trust. When you see these remarkable suits at only $40 and $47.50, Find tropicals at only $33.75 to $40, and sport jackets at only $26.50. Why, you'll be high on Clipper Craft forevermore. For selling expensive clothes at inexpensive low prices at the nation's finest stores is the great big idea behind the Clipper Craft plan. That's why men who know insist on Clipper Craft clothes. So be sure to visit the Clipper Craft store in your city.
These leading stores in the metropolitan area are proud to add their names to Clippercraft in your suits, top coats, sport jackets, and tropicals. In Manhattan, Saks 34th, Broadway at 34th. John Wanamaker Men's Stores, Broadway at 8th and 67 Liberty Street. In Brooklyn, Abraham and Strauss. In Newark, New Jersey, Boulevard Men's Shop, Kresge Newark. And in Jamaica, the B&B Clothes Shop, 16408 Jamaica Avenue.
And now back to Basham Churchyard. It is a few moments before midnight. The good rector, followed by two silhouettes, one tall and lank, the other rather more substantial, is picking his way through the moss-covered tombstones by the light of an old-fashioned lantern.
Careful, Watson. One of the headstones has fallen over. Some of the graves are very old, and their families have died out. The more important families, of course, have their tombs and vaults inside the church proper, where the local historical society cares for them.
Dashed undemocratic, eh, Holmes?
What difference does it make when you're dead?
Now, up these steps. Just a moment till I find the key to the side door.
I say, listen to the wind. Sounds like a lost soul.
Here we are. I'll go first and light the way.
That hinge could do with a bit of oil, Dillinghurst.
Good Lord! Phew. Something just swooped past my face.
Probably a bat, Watson. Old churches are often inhabited by them. Yes, there's another hanging from that clerestory up there.
This way, Holmes.
I say, the old place looks much bigger and gloomier from the inside, eh, Holmes?
Quite.
Now we're standing directly under the belfry. If you look up, you can see the bell and the rotted end of the bell cord up there, completely out of reach.
He's right, Holmes. No human hand could ring that bell. Oh! Hello, I slipped on something.
Yes, there seem to be quite a few pebbles here on the floor.
Bits of masonry are always coming loose, I'm afraid. One of them rather ruined the postmistress' Easter bonnet. The Danesfield vault's up this way, to the left of the chancel. Basham Church is one of the oldest in all England. Here at the entrance to the choir lies the daughter of Canute, folded in her golden hair. It's still growing, they say. Every 100 years or so, they open up the tomb and cut a length of it off.
I say, do you believe that?
I don't know, Watson. I wasn't here at Basham at the beginning of the century. I'll let you know in the year 2000.
At that ancient altar, Harold knelt before setting sail on his ill-fated voyage to Normandy.
Here we are. The entrance to the Danesfield vault. One of the oldest family vaults in the entire church. It was completely filled long ago. The more recent members have been buried in the floor beside it. This is Lady Elfrida's tomb, here, with the wilted roses lying against the wall.
Yes. Give me that lantern, Rector.
Holmes, what are you doing with your stick?
Testing the wall behind Elfrida's grave. Yes, quite solid. And the door leading down into the vault. This hasn't been opened for years, I should say. No rust or dust on the grating. The grill works sound as the day it was made.
Those old Danes could teach us a thing or two about ironwork, eh, Holmes?
Yes. Suppose we take up our places in the first pew over there. It's nearly midnight. We may as well wait in comfort for this phenomenon of the roses.
No, I have the strangest feeling that someone is watching us.
Considering all the ancestors who lie buried here, is it any wonder?
Oh, Holmes, really, you...
Sit down, Watson, and stop fidgeting. Let's see. 20 seconds to midnight. This church is, of course, one of the old foundation.
That's right, Holmes.
10 seconds. The important thing is to watch the roses. Don't take your eyes off them. 5 seconds. I hope this occurs on time. 3 seconds. 2. 1. Now.
Midnight exactly.
Holmes, look at the roses. They're fresh. They're absolutely blooming.
Why, so they are. Let's have a look at them.
Did either of you take your eyes off them?
Well, just for a second, perhaps, when the bell rang.
I'm afraid I'm guilty of that lapse as well. Lucky I was along, assuring us of at least one person who can concentrate. Yes, these roses are as fresh as they look. Remarkable. I think I'll take this one along for my buttonhole.
Holmes, look here.
Tomorrow morning, Rector, I think we shall take a look at the bushes that are supposed to have produced these very remarkable roses. That can be arranged, Holmes. Excellent. You know, Watson, there's only one thing more remarkable than the freshness of this rose.
What's that?
The time it chose to renew itself.
But it was midnight exactly as the rector told us.
That's right, Holmes. You yourself said it was midnight by your own watch. That's what makes it so remarkable, my dear Rector. You see, my watch is 5 minutes fast.
It's very good of you, Mr. Holmes, to take such an interest in our little problem of the everlasting roses, but after all, I imagine a person of your reputation has many more important crimes to investigate.
It's not the importance of a case that interests me primarily, Sir Albert. The Shah of Persia might be murdered in cold blood in Trafalgar Square, and I should probably pass by without a glance. But if a well-known member of a county family should, shall we say, go about popping off his neighbor's top hats with a slingshot, I might just possibly consider that worth investigating.
What a droll fellow you are, Mr. Holmes.
Am I, Sir Albert?
Oh, yes, here we are. These are my former wife's yellow rose bushes, Mr. Holmes. Now quite bare of blossoms, as you can see.
I thought they might be. Yes, let me see. Yes, basically a rugosa with a later grafting of something. Yes, I rather imagine the rose these bushes produce resembles that early flowering yellow rose now called the Father Hugo.
Why, yes, Mr. Holmes, that's absolutely correct.
By the way, Sir Albert, you have a gardener named Hugo.
Oh, yes, poor old Hugo. He's failing fast, I'm afraid. This business of the yellow roses is preying on his mind almost as much as on my wife's.
My favorite rose is a Frau Druschke, which blooms about now. It's a pure white rose, as you know, and should remain so.
I agree. I quite agree. People who are forever crossbreeding and grafting...
Robert, are you sure? Are you sure you didn't hear it? Last night it called again, just shortly before dawn. It was down by the bend of the sea creek where they found Elfrida. It was a woman's voice, and it kept calling my name. I had an almost irresistible urge to go to it.
What rot, May? You must have been dreaming.
It wasn't the first time I heard that voice. It called to me 3 nights ago. Oh, Robert, I was terrified. I knocked on Albert's door, but he didn't answer. Then I knocked on yours, but you didn't hear me either. And all the time that voice kept calling to me.
The men in this household must be remarkably heavy sleepers.
Robert, who's that?
Some confounded eavesdropper on the other side of the hedge.
May, my dear, come round the hedge here a moment and bring Robert. I want you to meet 2 distinguished guests, Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, my wife and my half-brother Robert.
We've come to solve the riddle of the yellow roses.
Oh, no!
Leave her alone. Leave her alone, all of you.
Why you dragged me out here, Holmes, to sit in this blasted insect-ridden duck blind in the middle of the night? That rat, the blasted things! It's not even the duck hunting season.
Exactly. Our object, my dear Watson, is to discover who and why someone's trying to frighten the Lady May out of her wits.
Well, then you don't agree with her husband and her brother-in-law that the voice calling to her from the water was only a dream?
The ringing bell and the Everblooming roses weren't a dream, Watson.
Very well, then why not solve that mystery first?
Oh, but it is solved, Watson. It's been solved since 5 minutes to midnight last night.
How so?
I was quite convinced that the trick of the bell and the roses were not 2, but 1. Any sleight-of-hand artist knows that the important thing is to divert his audience's attention at the moment his stunt is pulled. Hence the bell.
Oh, I don't understand.
My dear Watson, those smooth pebbles, one of which unbalanced you, those were what rang the bell. They were projected by a noiseless weapon, in short, a powerful slingshot. Our sleight-of-hand artist aimed his pebble through the grating of the Danesfield family vault. A second later, he shoved the fresh roses through with his foot as he picked up the old ones with his hand. Very quick, very neat.
But how did he get inside of the vault? You saw the ashes around the entrance. There were no footprints but ours.
Basham Church, as I said before, belongs to the old foundation.
The Danesfield vault was undoubtedly used as a priest's hole during the religious wars. There's another entrance from the fields directly under the chancel.
And you deliberately tricked the fellow into going off half-cocked 5 minutes ahead of time? Holmes, you are a wonder.
Yes, I rather imagine there'll be no further nonsense in Basham Church. But that doesn't mean that Lady May is out of danger. The roses were meant to terrify her, you know. The poor woman's on the verge of a nervous breakdown, or worse.
Well, then, why not let me take over?
No, Watson. Not until we can prove who it is who's threatening her.
By Jove, of course. The brother. He wants it out of the way so there can be no possible heir except himself.
The roses, by the way, were white roses dyed yellow, inasmuch as the yellow rose bushes had ceased to...
Good Lord, Holmes, did you hear that?
Yes, I suspected as much. It's coming from the marshes on the other side of the stream. The tide's high now. The stream's deep. He would wait for that.
Here she comes now. The Lady May. She's all in white, Holmes. She looks as if she were sleepwalking. Look, she's heading for that boat tied to the landing.
Yes. Yes. Now someone's following her into the shadows.
It's Robert, the half-brother. He's carrying a gun. Holmes, we must stop him before he does her any harm.
Leave him alone, Watson. He knows what he's doing.
May, come to me. May.
The Lady May's getting to the rowboat. She's poling it out into the stream.
She's in trouble, Holmes.
Yes. There were fresh holes bored just above the waterline. When she stepped into the boat, it started to fill.
Help me! Somebody! Help!
Holmes, we must save her.
It's all right, May. I'm coming.
Relax, Watson. Robert's going after her. The situation's well in hand. That's what I was waiting for. Now, Watson, we can go home.
But you heard that scream. The man was shot over there in the marshes.
Right. It was Sir Albert who was luring his second wife to her death by the same means he used to do away with his first. He was shot by the one person who suspected that death was not suicide. When he saw him try it again, he killed him.
But Robert couldn't have shot his brother, Holmes. He left his gun on the bank when he went to rescue the Lady May.
Right, Watson. Yes, I think that when Sir Albert's body is discovered, it will be found he was shot by his own fowling piece at close range. The coroner will probably decide it was a hunting accident.
Well, the Lady May was rescued, I take it, Doctor.
Oh, yes, Mr. Harris.
But why did her husband want to do away with her?
Because she, like his first wife, had produced no sons, and because he suspected his brother had fallen in love with her. As a matter of fact, the Lady May married Sir Robert, and in due course of time they had 5 bouncing offspring, all boys.
Well, good for her. But, Doctor, who did shoot Sir Albert?
Well, Holmes took no interest whatever in solving that mystery. Of course, I always had my suspicions.
You mean the old boy who had the same name as the Yellow Roses?
Possibly, Mr. Harris, possibly.
See. And now, Dr. Watson, what story are you going to tell us next week?
Now, let me see. Next week, I think I'll tell how Sherlock Holmes outwitted 2 of Europe's most famous jewel thieves and confidence tricksters by beating them at their own game on the platform at Waterloo Station. Yes, the story concerns a missing parrot and a lady who played a nasty trick on me by means of her false teeth. I call it the case of the accommodating valise.
The makers of Clippercraft Clothes and 1,036 leading stores from coast to coast have brought you another in the new series of broadcasts featuring the world's most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. Our stories are based upon the character Sherlock Holmes, created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes is played by John Stanley, Dr. Watson by Alfred Shirley, and the dramatizations are by Edith Meiser. Sherlock Holmes is produced and directed by Basil Lochran, with special music by Albert Berman. If you don't know your Clippercraft dealer, write Clippercraft, 200 Fifth Avenue, New York City. Be sure to listen next week to Sherlock Holmes in The Case of the Accommodating Valise. This is Cy Harris speaking for Clippercraft Clothes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. An interesting case. I have to admit, I had my suspicions of the husband from the get-go, just because that's the way these episodes do tend to go. Plus, when Holmes made the remark about the shooting, I think that was a dead giveaway there. But an interesting case with a lot of clues to untangle. Well, we turn now to listener comments and feedback, and we get an email from Basil, who's 11 years old. He says, I live on an island that has lots of power outages, and sometimes all we have is iPod and computer for entertainment. A few years ago, my dad let me listen to the radio show. Now I listen to them every night. I'm now listening to Sherlock Holmes. I was wondering how many actors have played Sherlock and Dr. Watson. I enjoy when you speak before and after each show and look forward from hearing from you. From Basil, who's on Hornby Island, British Columbia in Canada. Well, thanks so much for the email, Basil. And you ask a very, very tough question. I'm not going to be able to give a satisfactory or complete answer. The problem is that Sherlock Holmes is one of the most adapted characters. They've made a lot of movies, television shows, and radio programs. And not just in English either. There have been adaptations of Sherlock Holmes in German, Russian. Guinness Book of Records puts the number of just film adaptations of Holmes at 211, and the number of actors playing Sherlock Holmes at 75. No estimation on Dr. Watson. In radio, in the old-time radio area, I can count at least 7 over American radio. But that doesn't even begin to consider the BBC, South African radio, Australian radio, and even more modern American adaptations, or the various television performances. So, I guess the best answer I can give you is a lot. Holmes is a very fascinating character to people of all ages from all around the world, and I expect we'll continue to see more adaptations being added to that number. So, I hope I answered your question, or at least gave you a hint at kind of the overall breadth of Sherlock Holmes. So, alright, well, that will actually do it. Thanks so much, Basil. We will be back tomorrow with yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and then join us again on Thursday for another episode of Sherlock Holmes. I encourage you, if you've not already, pick up a copy of my ebook, All I Needed to Know I Learned from Columbo. It is a fascinating read. We take a look at 7 detectives. We take a look at their careers, as well as life lessons that can be drawn from their stories. And we do 7 detectives, among them Nero Wolfe, Sherlock Holmes, Father Brown, and Columbo and Monk. So it's definitely enjoyable. You can pick up a copy for your Kindle at Amazon.com, or at all other ebook readers. You can pick it up at Smashwords.com. All right, well, now it's time for today's episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. An apology here. The opening bit, in terms of his opening phone call and the first part of the commercial, is missing from this episode. But otherwise it's intact, and I don't think you should end up missing anything. So here now is today's episode, The Shayne Bombing Matter.
And delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum is so handy. Just slip a package into your purse or pocket, and you've got refreshment right at your fingertips. Chew Wrigley's Spearmint while you're working. Enjoy this refreshing treat along with your favorite summer sports. Wrigley's Spearmint Gum is always enjoyable, and you can chew it without even taking time out. Get a few packages of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Healthful, refreshing, delicious.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, Columbia All Risk Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Shayne bombing matter. Expense account item 1, $14.75. Train fare and incidentals between Hartford and New York City, after I received from you the necessary information concerning the late David Shayne. I arrived in New York at 3:30 in the afternoon and went directly to the 3rd Precinct Station, where I contacted Lieutenant Will Stevens of Homicide.
Sit down, Johnny.
Oh, thanks, Will.
Been a long time.
Yeah, it has. Will, I'm investigating the David Shayne killing.
Well, I'll give you all the help I can.
Oh, I'd appreciate it. Understand you're holding the brother.
Yeah. We talked to Mrs. Shayne. She told us Charles sent the box. Says she heard David say so before he opened it.
Brothers weren't living together?
No, Charles Shayne's been in California. He arrived here by plane this morning. We picked him up.
What does he say about it?
He swears he didn't do it.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. As near as we can find out, the brothers were very close.
Oh, so were Cain and Abel.
Yeah. But there doesn't seem to be any motive in this case. At least we can't find any. I thought for a while Charles was going to give us a lead, but just before we had him brought up for questioning, his lawyer showed up.
With a writ?
No, just said he was representing Charles and wanted to talk to him. He was with him for about a half hour, and after he left, Charles wouldn't open his mouth.
My report on David Shayne says he worked at Bishop and Harding.
That's right. Factory foreman. I knew him. He's a nice guy. Took a lot of interest in union affairs, and everybody seemed to like him.
And you can't find any motive for the brother to send him a bomb?
Not yet.
Can I talk to Charles?
Sure. But you're not going to get anything out of him.
Stevens put in a call and made arrangements for me to interview Charles Shayne. Expense account item 2, $1.35. Cab fare to the city jail, where I was taken in to see Charles Shayne in his cell. Mr. Shayne?
Yeah?
Mind if I sit down?
No.
Thanks. My name is Dollar. I represent the Columbia All Risk Insurance Company.
Are you kidding?
I'm investigating your brother's death.
Oh.
Your mother and sister are also insured with Columbia.
How are they?
Well, I haven't seen them, but the last report was they were doing all right. Mr. Shayne.
I didn't send him that bomb.
Any idea who did?
No.
You're in a pretty tough spot.
Okay.
The package the bomb was in
Came from California, okay.
How long have you been in California, Mr. Shayne?
About 8 months.
Doing what?
Working.
Doing what?
Shipyard. Now look, Mr. Dollar, the police have asked me all kinds of questions. Same ones you're asking me. I've given them the same answers. They've probably got them all written down on a piece of paper. So why don't you save yourself a lot of trouble and just go take a look at the paper?
Just a couple more questions.
Okay. You've got a cigarette.
Oh, sure. If you had a job in California, why did you come back to New York?
Because I quit my job.
Why?
Because I didn't like it. Now, you've had your couple of questions, Mr. Dollar.
Okay. You didn't send the bomb?
No, I didn't send the bomb. Now, would you lay off, please?
Okay. Guard. I'm going to see your mother and sister. Any message?
No.
I can't help wondering.
What?
How your brother knew the package was from you.
Goodbye, Mr. Dollar.
Kind of foolish for a guy to send someone a bomb and a package that could be so easily identified.
I said goodbye, Mr. Dollar. And thanks for the cigarette.
Sure. Expense account item 3, $1.65. Cab fare to the hospital, where I was allowed to interview Mrs. Shayne. She was in her late 50s, a small, frail woman, lying in the clean white hospital bed and looking up at me with hurt-filled eyes.
You only have a few minutes.
Okay.
Mrs. Shayne, this is Mr. Dollar. He'd like to speak to you.
Hello, Mrs. Shayne.
Are you another policeman?
No, ma'am. I'm an insurance investigator.
Oh.
I was hoping you could tell me something about my son, Charles.
I just left Charles, Mrs. Shayne.
Did you? How is he?
Oh, he's fine.
I made such a terrible mistake.
How's that?
Telling the police Charles sent the package.
You don't think he did?
Of course he didn't. Mr. Dollar, I don't know you, but please, if you're investigating this terrible thing, please do something for Charles. He didn't do it. He loved his brother. They were so close. He wouldn't ever do anything as terrible as this.
I'll do everything I can, Mrs. Shayne.
David could have been wrong. He must have been.
Wrong about what?
About Charles sending the package.
Why did he think Charles sent him the package?
We were in the kitchen. I was fixing dinner. This package had arrived that afternoon at the factory. It was just addressed to David.
Was it addressed in Charles' handwriting?
I don't know. But when David came home, he said it was from Charles. I didn't know what I was saying when I told that to the police. I was so stunned. Mr. Dollar, you didn't send that package. Please, Mr. Dollar, you must do something to help him.
All right, Mrs. Shayne. I'm sure Mr. Dollar will do everything he can. Now, you'll have to rest.
You will help, won't you, Mr. Dollar?
I'll do everything I can, Mrs. Shayne.
Your time's up, Mr. Dollar.
Oh,
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Shayne.
all right. Goodbye, Mr. Dollar. Please help.
Goodbye, Mrs. Shayne. She gonna be all right?
Oh, she'll be fine. She wasn't hurt badly. Minor cuts and burns. Shock.
Where's her daughter, Miss Mary Shayne?
3 doors down, but she's a little worse off.
Can I see her?
Yes. Lieutenant Stevens asked the doctor to give you all the cooperation possible. She can only stay a few minutes, and she's under sedation. She may not be able to say much.
Sure.
Only a few minutes. Miss Shayne? Miss Shayne, this is Mr. Dollar. He'd like to speak with you.
Who?
Johnny Dollar, Miss Shayne. I'm investigating your brother's death.
Oh, yes, Mr. Dollar. I'm a little sleepy. They gave me something to make me sleep, and things don't make much sense. I'm sorry.
I just saw your brother Charles.
He didn't do it. He wouldn't have any reason to.
Well, can you tell me anything that might help?
He was helping David. He wouldn't try to kill him. He was helping him.
Helping him?
What?
You said he was helping David.
Oh, yes. Charles knows who sent the bomb, but he didn't send it.
He knows who sent it?
He knows. David's been making speeches against the Workers' Protective Association.
The Workers' Protective Association? Miss Shayne, you said something about the Workers' Protective Association.
Been making speeches against him. Charles has been helping in California. Didn't send it. He knows who did.
What has Charles been doing in California, Miss Shayne?
Charles knows who sent the bomb. He knows. He's keeping quiet to protect us. He knows.
Miss Shayne, did David tell anyone Charles was helping him in California?
Tell anyone? There was a man named Wagner who called all the time.
Wagner?
Yes, Wagner. Called all the time.
Did he work at the factory?
No, I think he was a lawyer.
A lawyer?
Yes.
Please, Mr. Dollar.
Just one more question, Miss. It's very important. Miss Shayne, did David tell anyone at the factory that Charles was working with him in California?
At the factory?
Yes. Did he tell anyone about Charles in California?
Yes. Yes, I think so. Mr. Dollar, I'll have to call the doctor.
Look, this may mean a man's life. Who did David tell, Miss Shayne?
Man named... wish I could get things straight.
Who did he tell at the factory?
Pryor. Sometimes after work, Mom used to fix dinner for him and David.
Pryor?
Yes. Pryor. Ralph Pryor. Was a close friend of David's. David. David.
Now, please, Mr. Dollar.
Okay. I left the hospital and walked out in the street. One of those sidewalk photographers snapped my picture and handed me a card in case I wanted to send him 2 bits for the print. I threw the card away and hailed another cab. Expense account item 4, $2.65. Cab fare to the Bishop and Harding factory where David had worked. I identified myself to the superintendent. He took me down and introduced me to the new foreman of the shop, who pointed out Ralph Pryor at a turret lathe. Mr. Pryor? Mr. Pryor? Yeah? My name is Johnny Dollar. Okay. So what? Oh, you're a friendly little fella, aren't you?
Look, what do you want? I got a lot of work to turn out, and I ain't got no time for stupid conversation.
I understand David Shayne was a good friend of yours.
Yeah. What do you want to know, Chris?
I'm investigating his death.
All right, he was a good friend. Now, what else do you want to know?
How long have you worked here?
Oh, about 6 years.
When was the last time you saw David?
Yesterday. Said goodbye to him when he left work.
You don't seem very unhappy.
You got any more questions?
Yeah. How does the mail come in here?
From the mail room.
Who brings it in?
Nobody special. Foreman usually sends someone after.
How do I find the mail room?
Up the hall at the head of the stairs.
Thanks. I went up and talked to the mailroom clerk, and he was a little more help. There had been a package for David. He remembered it because it was so heavy. He told me that he'd sent it down along with some other mail, but he couldn't remember who'd picked it up. I was starting to get a hunch, so I got to a phone and put in a call to Lieutenant Stevens.
How you doing?
Pretty fair. You know, I don't think the brothers sent the bomb.
I don't either. The lab says the bomb was dynamite, highest grade. I don't see how it could have come through the mails all the way from California without the caps blowing the whole thing up.
Oh. Do me a favor.
If I can.
Pick up a Ralph Pryor. Works at the factory.
Any charge?
Just pick him up for questioning. He was supposed to be one of David Shayne's closest friends. Pick him up and hold him as long as you can.
You, got something?
Maybe. Friends, you know Wrigley's Spearmint Gum is a delicious treat that millions enjoy all year round. It's good to chew almost any time and any place. In warm weather, you'll enjoy especially the refreshment that Wrigley's Spearmint Gum gives you. When your mouth feels hot and dry, or when you're feeling warm and tired, chewing Wrigley's Spearmint gives you a pleasant little lift. It cools your mouth, moistens your throat, and refreshes your taste. Besides, chewing on a good smooth piece of Wrigley's Spearmint Gum seems to add enjoyment to whatever else you're doing. So enjoy it at home, at work, wherever you are. And remember, Wrigley's Spearmint Gum is a swell treat to take along on picnics. Get plenty for everybody. That's Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Healthful, refreshing, delicious. And now, with our star, John Lund, we bring you the second act of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. After calling Lieutenant Stevens, I left the factory and hung around outside for about 15 minutes till I spotted a squad car pull up and two of New York's finest go into the building to pick up Ralph Pryor. Expense account item 5, $2.75. Cab fare from the Bishop and Harding factory to the 3rd Precinct Police Station.
Boys just brought Pryor in. I got him downstairs. Would you mind letting me in on this?
Well, it's a long shot. I found out what Charles Shayne was doing in California.
Well, we know that. He worked in the shipyard.
Yeah, but he was also doing some undercover work.
Undercover work?
His sister told me he was helping David get some evidence on something called the Workers' Protective Association. Know anything about it?
Yeah, had a lot of trouble with them. King-size extortion. They muscle in on the local union and guarantee the workers protection.
Protection from what?
From nothing. But if they don't pay up, they get their heads split. We've even had a couple of killings, but we've never been able to pin them on anyone. The FBI's been working on it for over a year. They're operating all over the country.
I'll bet my expense account that they sent the bomb.
Well, you think Pryor's mixed up in it?
Well, his sister told me Pryor knew what Charles was doing in California. David told him.
You don't think Pryor's going to admit anything, do you?
I doubt it. But I'm interested in seeing who comes to bail him out. The sister also told me David got a number of calls from a lawyer named Wagner.
The lawyer who came to see Charles this morning was named Wagner. Yeah, here it is. John Wagner.
Yeah, that was the hunch. Now, this is the way it figures to me. Charles was in California working with David here to get evidence on a racket. You told me he shut up like a clam when this lawyer got through with him.
Yeah, that's right. Acted frightened.
And why not? If Wagner's mixed up in the racket, he simply tells Charles if he opens his mouth, the Shayne family will get another bomb. Or get in the way of a truck or something.
Oh, you gotta have more than that.
Look, I admit it. I'm only guessing. Now, Pryor knew what Charles was doing in California. If he's in the association, he tells them, and they get set to kill off David and at the same time frame the brother for the killing.
Okay. Now suppose you tell me how they do it.
Well, I'm just guessing again, but I think the bomb was sent from the factory. And in order to get hold of that package, the man who planted the bomb would have to be working in David's shop.
That where Pryor works?
He sure does.
Excuse me. Stevens. Yeah? He is? Okay. Well?
What?
The lawyer.
Wagner?
Yeah. He's out front. Wants to see his client, Ralph Pryor.
I left Stevens and went out front where I spotted the lawyer, Wagner. He was small, dressed neatly in a Homburg, blue suit, and spats. I made sure he was the man I wanted, and I went out front to wait. About a half an hour later, he finally came out and grabbed a cab. Expense account item 6, $3.25. One more cab to tail Wagner. He led me to a waterfront dive on Canal Street. I watched him go in, then I followed.
Something for you, Mac?
No, just looking.
Anything special?
A man just came in here.
He did?
Short, blue suit and spats.
Spats?
And a Homburg.
Better have a good stiff one.
You didn't see him?
Oh, sure. The short, blue suit, spats, Homburg.
Yeah.
Leading an elephant.
You know something? I'm not amused.
You know something? Neither was the elephant.
Where does that back door lead to?
To the back door. Take a walk back there, Mr. Dollar.
You know who I am?
Sure. You want to see Mr. Wagner, don't you? Isn't that right?
That's right.
Through that back door. He's expecting you.
If you don't mind, I'll make a call first.
Ah, but I do mind. I'm sorry.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but I'm going to make it anyway.
No. You're going back to see Mr. Wagner. You know why?
Because you got a gun in that pocket?
That's a pretty good reason, Dollar.
Yes, it is. Well, let's go see Mr. Wagner. The man with a gun in his coat pocket showed me the way to the back door. We went through into a hall that led to some stairs that led to another door. Behind the second door was an office, and behind the desk was the lawyer, John Wagner.
Come in, Mr. Dollar. Come in. Have a chair.
No, thanks.
Didn't you hear what he said? Sit down.
Now, Mr. Dollar, you realize, of course, that you're in pretty serious trouble.
Is that right?
Oh, yes, indeed.
How do you know who I am?
From your photograph. You had to be a policeman, a private detective, some sort of an investigator. Turned out you're a freelance insurance investigator working for Columbia All Risk.
You learned that from my photograph?
We have a very efficient organization. When we heard you had visited the Shaynes in the hospital, we had your picture taken.
The sidewalk photographer.
You have a good memory. We turned the photo over to the qualified members of the organization, and they in turn gave us a very thorough report.
And now what?
It's obvious, isn't it? Al here will take you out to the car and drive you 5 or 10 miles down the river.
You mind clearing up a few points first?
If they're not too time-consuming, I have an appointment.
Pryor put the bomb in the package?
Yes?
He knew the package was coming and intercepted it before David got it, removed the contents, loaded in the bomb, and gave it to Dave.
Absolutely correct, Mr. Dollar.
Weren't you worried he might open it in the factory?
We knew he wouldn't open it until he got home. You see, he believed there was important information concerning my organization in the package.
From his brother?
Of course. Pryor notified us what his brother was doing, and our people in California, in turn, notified us when to expect the package. Simple?
Charming. Nothing like a delightful explosion.
I'm sorry the women were present.
Oh, sure. You cried yourself to sleep.
I'm afraid you have to be going, Mr. Dollar. Al.
Come on, Mr. Dollar.
I'm sorry we couldn't talk further, but if you understand.
Oh, don't think anything of it. And I'm sure you won't.
Out the way you came in.
Wait a minute.
Hold it.
That's trouble out front.
Probably just the police.
They didn't know you were coming. You didn't call.
If you got Pryor released and told him to meet you here, I'm afraid Lieutenant Stevens is right behind him.
Get him out of here, fast.
You heard him. Move.
Al gave me a shove through the door. We turned and headed for the back. Just then, Lieutenant Stevens and 2 uniformed cops came in the hall with Ralph Pryor in front of them. Al took his gun out of my back and turned to face the trouble.
Drop it!
Look out! I tried to take it away from him.
Jim, take Pryor out to the car. Where's Wagner?
In here. The window. There he goes.
Wagner, stop!
No, don't shoot. I can catch him. I'd love it.
Yeah, are you all right?
Just skinned my knee. But Wagner's out cold.
Oh, you idiot.
Why?
He might have had a gun.
Huh?
He could have turned around and blown your head off.
Hey, I never thought of that. Well, just proves what I've always said. You gotta be crazy to be a hero. The whole thing tied together something like this. Wagner was the head of the Workers' Protective Association. Pryor was one of the boys. When David Shayne told Pryor his brother was in California collecting evidence that would stop the organization, Pryor reported to Wagner, and Wagner ordered him to intercept the evidence Charles was sending from California and get rid of David. Wagner sprung Pryor, as we thought he would, and Stevens trailed him to Wagner just in time to save my hide. Expense account item 7, $22. Dinner with Lieutenant Stevens in grateful appreciation. Item 8, $32.50 for a new pair of slacks and minor first aid for my skinned knee. Expense account items 9 and 10, $42.80. Hotel bill, train fare, and incidentals back to Hartford the next day. Expense account total, $123.70. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Remember, friends, wherever you are, whatever you do, enjoy chewing Wrigley's Spearmint Gum. That lively, full-bodied Wrigley Spearmint flavor is really refreshing. It cools your mouth, moistens your throat, helps keep you feeling fresh and comfortable. The smooth, pleasant chewing helps keep you feeling relaxed, too. So you naturally feel better, work better, get more fun out of doing things. Remember, too, Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum is a refreshing treat you can enjoy almost any time and any place. Just slip a stick into your mouth whenever you want it. Do as millions do. Keep Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum handy and enjoy it often, every day. That's Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum. Healthful, refreshing, delicious. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, brought to you by Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum, stars John Lund in the title role and was written by Blake Edwards with music by Eddie Dunstetter. Featured in tonight's cast were Junius Matthews, Frank Nelson, Clayton Post, Virginia Gregg, Mary Lansing, Sammy Hill, and Jim Nusser. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is produced and directed by Jaime Del Valle. The makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum hope you enjoyed tonight's story of Johnny Dollar and that you're enjoying delicious Wrigley's Spearmint Gum every day. This is Charles Lyon, inviting you to join us again next week at the same time when, from Hollywood, John Lund returns as
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
Welcome back. Well, this episode sounded familiar to me, and there was a reason for it. This was also an episode of Richard Diamond from June 26th of 1949, the Tom Waxman bombing. This was, of course, a script reuse. I remember that episode because it ended with Dick Powell singing in Yiddish. They apparently could not find any good reason for John Lund to end the episode that way. Speaking of script reuse, I received an email from a listener, Brian, who says, I've enjoyed your podcast, especially the Yours Truly Johnny Dollar series. I was listening to some episodes and I came across what appears to be a recycled storyline. 1952, the Walter Patterson matter. 1955, the Chesapeake fraud matter. Both of these stories about a man that is presumed dead, but an old acquaintance runs into the man several years later. The presumably dead man insists he's not the friend he's supposed to look like. If you listen to the episodes, they're almost word for word in some parts. When Johnny first confronts the look-alike, it's like they're using the same script. I was wondering if you were already aware of this. Are you familiar with other recycled storylines? I look forward to your reply. Well, thank you so much, Brian. Well, as I mentioned, today's was recycled from about 4 years previously on Richard Diamond. And, really, Johnny Dollar, was way ahead of this whole recycling thing. Because Johnny Dollar, recycled, and not just from Johnny Dollar, from Richard Diamond, from Nightbeat. We even had one that was from Voyages of the Scarlet Queen. And it's kind of interesting to see how different actors handle the different scripts. And usually the biggest challenge is how they're going to write in the insurance angle. But script reuse, it is very common, and usually I'll think to call your attention to it. But, it is so prevalent in Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, it almost gets repetitive to call attention to it every time. But I appreciate your comments, and I recognized it. For whatever reason, I may not have commented on it. But I'm aware of a lot of Johnny Dollar replicas, more than I can count. Before we do go today, I want to say a big, big thank you to everyone who's been rating the show on iTunes. We're now up to 130 ratings. 108 of those 5-star ratings. And I would have, and if you have access to iTunes, I would encourage you to rate the program. It definitely helps with getting new listeners, so it's much appreciated. And, of course, follow us on Twitter at Radio Detectives and give us a call, 208-991-4783. Well, we'll be back on Monday with Barrie Craig, Confidential Investigator, and join us for another episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, on Friday. Oh, wait, before we go, I did forget to mention there was a lost episode between last week's episode and this one. That episode was called The Bishop Blackmail Matter, and that was from July 7th, 1953. And we're now on July 14th, and we've got a few weeks until our next lost episode. So I'm glad that the Johnny Dollar episodes are out there. I sometimes wish they were in a little better shape, but we definitely enjoy bringing them to you. All right, well, from Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off. Idaho, this